Chapter 1643. Little Wang was a little perturbed by Jing Xiaolu's stare. He didn't know if Jing Xiaolu was blaming him for being rude, or if she was satisfied with the way he addressed her just now. So in this hesitation, Yang Ming had already stood up and walked to the front desk with Jing Xiaolu, while Little Wang and Sun Xiaoran fell behind. "What are you doing? Why are you standing there stupidly?" Sun Xiaoran saw Little Wang standing there stupidly and frowning. She pushed him anxiously from behind. "Brother Yang and Jing Xiaolu have left." "Ah." Little Wang recovered and sighed bitterly. "I thought about it again. I called President Jing as sister-in-law Xiaolu. Was it right?" She glanced at me. I didn't know if it was praise or blame. "You are worried about this?" Sun Xiaoran suddenly had a feeling of being dumbfounded after listening. "Aren't you too slow?" "Why?" "You know." Little Wang turned his head and asked with some surprise. "Of course." Sun Xiaoran looked at Little Wang with some pride and said, "I am also a woman. Naturally, I can see what Jing Xiaolu meant." "Then you tell me quickly. What did she mean? I am so anxious." Little Wang looked at Sun Xiaoran anxiously. "Of course, she is happy." Sun Xiaoran smiled and said, "If it were other things, how could I not remind you? I can see that Jing Xiaolu likes your boss, Brother Yang, very much. So, it is much better for you to call her sister-in-law Xiaolu than President Jing. If this is the case, then I am relieved." Little Wang suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Gu Xinyao and Jing Xiaolu have a very good relationship since they were in school. Since Bai Hai called her that, it is not wrong for you to call her that. "You can rest assured," said Sun Xiaoran. "That's good. Little Ran, you know how hard it was for me to get this job. Everyone respects you and your parents changed their attitude towards me. I can't lose this job." Little Wang nodded. "Of course. However, in my opinion, Brother Yang and Xiaolu are not calculative people. They won't care about those who are genuinely good to them. However, they won't let go of those who are not good to them easily. I feel that Zhang Kaiyuan is going to be unlucky." Sun Xiaoran analyzed. "Really? I see that Brother Yang is not paying much attention to Zhang Kaiyuan." Little Wang was not as insightful as Sun Xiaoran. "That's because Brother Yang doesn't want to bother with him. If Zhang Kaiyuan doesn't know what's good for him, then he will definitely be unlucky," Sun Xiaoran said. "If he doesn't know what's good for him, I'll be the first to find him." Lil Wang clenched his fist and said, "You can take the lead, but you still don't have enough experience. You must understand the leader's mind. When Brother Yang asks you to go, you go. Don't act on your own." Sun Xiaoran instructed. "It seems that you know more than me." Little Wang remembered Sun Xiaoran's words and quickened his pace to catch up with Yang Ming, Jing Xiaolu, and the others. The students in front of Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu took the initiative to make way for them. Obviously, Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu had become the protagonists of this class reunion. After getting the room card, they went to the dining room. According to Zhang Kaiyuan's previous expectations, he would sit at the table at the front. The guests at the table were also those who were doing well in the class. However, the situation had changed today. Not only were there two more variables, Sun Xiaoran and Gu Xinyao, but the most infuriating thing was that Jing Xiaolu had actually become stronger than everyone. Originally, Jing Xiaolu was also arranged to sit at the first table, but it was not because Jing Xiaolu was doing well. He placed Jing Xiaolu at this table because he had selfish motives. First, he wanted to get closer to Jing Xiaolu. Second, these rich and powerful classmates would naturally discuss topics like business and money. Jing Xiaolu would definitely feel something after hearing this. She would be envious of such a rich person's life. When the time came, he would work harder. Maybe he could win over Jing Xiaolu in one fell swoop. However, in the current situation, Jing Xiaolu's seat was a bit awkward. Zhang Kaiyuan had called the few classmates who were doing well in the group beforehand to confirm the number of people coming and whether or not they were bringing their boyfriends and girlfriends. As for Jing Xiaolu, Zhang Kaiyuan subconsciously thought that she did not have a boyfriend, so when he saved a seat, he saved one for her. In order to prevent everyone from sitting randomly, Zhang Kaiyuan had agreed with the resort in advance to put a name tag on every table before the meal. His table only had Jing Xiaolu's name tag, and there was no Yang Ming's name tag. If Jing Xiaolu continued to sit here, what would happen to Yang Ming? Although Zhang Kaiyuan really wanted to let Jing Xiaolu sit here and let Yang Ming do whatever he wanted, he knew that if he did that, he would not be far away from love. Yang Ming's bodyguard driver, Little Wang, was glaring at him. If he did not let Jing Xiaolu sit here, it would be even more unreasonable. He had already placed her name here before, and now he did not let her sit. What was going on? If Jing Xiaolu was not the chairman of Ming Yang Entertainment now, it would be fine. However, since Jing Xiaolu had this identity now, wouldn't it be looking down on her if he arranged for her to sit at another table? If he arranged for Jing Xiaolu to sit at another table before, it would be fine. He could say that he did not know about this beforehand, but now, after Zhang Kaiyuan entered the restaurant, he began to feel troubled. Looking at everyone looking for their names, Zhang Kaiyuan frowned. This Yang Ming looked like a coward, but the little Wang beside him was difficult to deal with. This was definitely not the time to provoke Yang Ming. It was also because Zhang Kaiyuan felt that Yang Ming's previous performance was very cowardly. He only knew how to talk. Therefore, he had a devious idea to deal with Yang Ming. He did not know how Yang Ming would feel after knowing the truth. It seemed that people could not be too kind. Brother Yang, sister-in-law Xiaolu's seat is here. Little Wang looked around the restaurant and finally found Jing Xiaolu's name on the first table in the front row. In fact, there were only about 5 people's names on the other tables. This was also convenient for these people to bring their family members. Zhang Kaiyuan did not have a detailed understanding of the students who were not very important. He just randomly left some empty seats at each table. Basically, everyone could sit together. Zhang Kaiyuan was thinking about how to explain Jing Xiaolu's seat when he heard Little Wang shout. Zhang Kaiyuan was so shocked that he almost had a heart attack. Then, I'll sit somewhere else. Let Brother Yang and Xiaolu sit here. Zhang Kaiyuan really could not think of a solution. Moreover, he was afraid of Little Wang. He was afraid that Little Wang would beat him up if he did not speak. He could only compromise and leave the seat empty for Yang Ming. However, Zhang Kaiyuan also secretly swore in his heart. Yang Ming, the humiliation you gave me today, I will definitely return it to you 10 times or 100 times in the future. You are just a second generation from a rich family. You don't have much ability, yet you think you are so great. Wait until Little Wang is not by your side, humph. However, Little Wang did not seem to care about him at all. He did not even look at Zhang Kaiyuan. He directly pulled Zhang Kaiyuan's name tag to the ground and stepped on it. He waved to Yang Ming in the distance. Brother Yang, there is an empty seat here. It's beside sister-in-law Xiaolu. Seeing Little Wang's actions, Zhang Kaiyuan was so angry that his face turned green. However, he did not dare to do anything and could only swallow his anger. He had clearly indicated that he wanted to sit somewhere else and give the seat to Yang Ming. However, Little Wang did not give him face and threw his name tag to the ground. The most despicable thing was that he even stepped on it. However, being angry was one thing. Zhang Kaiyuan still did not dare to do anything to Little Wang. He also did not have any thoughts of revenge. This was because he was a little afraid of Little Wang's identity as a security guard. Which security guard was not strong enough to fight against 3 people? If they were not strong enough, they would not want it. He scolded Little Wang in his heart, but he still had to smile and said, "Yes, there is no one here." Chapter 1644. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu heard Little Wang's voice and walked over. Sure enough, they saw a name tag with Jing Xiaolu on it on the first table in the front row. Brother Yang, it's here. Little Wang pointed at Jing Xiaolu's name tag and said, "Look, there's an empty seat next to it." As Little Wang spoke, he used his foot to kick Zhang Kaiyuan's name tag on the ground. Zhang Kaiyuan was so angry that he trembled, but he could only force himself to say, "Yes, there's an empty seat here. Little Wang, where are you sitting?" Yang Ming glanced at Little Wang and asked. "Xiaoran and I are sitting at the back with Gu Xinyao and Bai Hai." Little Wang pointed at the table at the back and said. Little Wang, Sun Xiaoran, Bai Hai, and Gu Xinyao were the ones who did badly at last year's class reunion, so they were not valued by Zhang Kaiyuan at all. They were arranged to sit at the back table and were allowed to play by themselves. He did not expect that the two of them would make a comeback today. Therefore, when Little Wang spoke, Zhang Kaiyuan felt awkward again. Fortunately, Little Wang did not harp on this topic, which made Zhang Kaiyuan feel relieved. He was now afraid that Little Wang would find trouble with him. "Yang Ming, then shall we sit at the back? We are familiar with Sister Xinyao and Little Wang. We are not familiar with the people in front." Jing Xiaolu looked at Yang Ming and asked. "Okay, you have the final say." Yang Ming nodded and agreed. Jing Xiaolu could sit wherever she wanted. Yang Ming came with Jing Xiaolu, so he did not know the people here. Wasn't it the same no matter where he sat? He would be more familiar with Bai Hai and Little Wang sitting together. "Then let's sit at the back. Little Wang, help me hold the name tag." "We will go to the back," Jing Xiaolu instructed Little Wang. "Okay, sister-in-law Xiaolu." Little Wang agreed happily and called out to sister-in-law Xiaolu again. With Sharon's advice before, Little Wang knew how to please Jing Xiaolu this time. Sure enough, Jing Xiaolu's face turned red again. She glanced at Little Wang and said, "Little Wang, you can't call me that in the company, but it's okay in private, hee, I know." Little Wang naturally understood the rules. He would not call Jing Xiaolu in front of so many people in the company. It was too unruly. But in private, it was equivalent of him accompanying Yang Ming was his leader, so it was reasonable to call her that way. Little Wang picked up Jing Xiaolu's name tag. Just as he was about to leave with Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu, he suddenly thought of something, so he stopped and bent down. He reached out and picked up Zhang Kaiyuan's name tag, which was full of footprints on the ground. He put it back in its original position and muttered to himself, "I remember now. There is someone here. Then, you can sit." Zhang Kaiyuan was fuming with anger. He was humiliated by Little Wang in front of so many classmates. Zhang Kaiyuan felt like he didn't want to live anymore. It was too shameful. He couldn't live anymore. Zhang Kaiyuan even saw everyone's expression of wanting to laugh but holding back their laughter because of their pride. His lungs were about to explode. "Why don't you sit down?" Little Wang looked at Zhang Kaiyuan, who was so angry that his face turned green, and asked innocently. Without waiting for Zhang Kaiyuan to answer, Little Wang continued, "Oh, yes, I know. This name tag is too dirty. I can't see it clearly. Just wipe it and it will be fine." As he spoke, Little Wang picked up the name tag and rubbed it back and forth on Zhang Kaiyuan's shirt a few times. He rubbed most of the footprints on it on Zhang Kaiyuan's shirt. "Okay, you can see it clearly now, right?" Little Wang patted the dirt on his hands. Then, he turned around and left without looking at Zhang Kaiyuan's expression. Zhang Kaiyuan took 2 deep breaths and calmed down his emotions. He regained a smile on his face. This brother Little Wang is quite humorous." Zhang Kaiyuan's self-mockery immediately made everyone laugh. However, no one knew whether they were laughing at Zhang Kaiyuan's so-called humor or at Zhang Kaiyuan's cowardice. Students who could survive well in society were all tactful. Although they were ashamed of Zhang Kaiyuan's previous actions, they did not show it. Although they felt that they could not offend Yang Ming, there was no need to offend Zhang Kaiyuan. They might be able to use him in the future. Therefore, everyone continued to talk and laugh. Although Zhang Kaiyuan seemed to have forgotten about the previous unpleasantness in the midst of everyone's conversation, only he himself knew that this matter was stuck in his throat like a fishbone. He kept feeling that the way everyone looked at him had become a little strange. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu were walking in front, but they could clearly see little Wang's actions behind them. They could not help but laugh. This little Wang really has the same demeanor as I did in the past. He is indeed a talent. When they walked to the last few tables in the cafeteria, there was basically no one there. Every table was sparsely occupied. Clearly, those students who were doing well had squeezed to the front. They would rather add chairs to some tables than sit at the back. The students at the back knew that they were not doing very well, so they did not have the face to join in the fun. Therefore, this situation was created. In fact, most people did not come here to eat. They mainly wanted to talk together. Therefore, as long as there was space to sit at a table, they would squeeze forward. When Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu walked over, Gu Xinyao and Bai Hai quickly stood up. Sun Xiaoran hesitated and also stood up. Although she was not an employee of Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu's company, her man's future was closely related to these two people. Sun Xiaoran naturally did not dare to neglect them. It's still quiet at the back. It's so noisy at the front. It's so boring, Jing Xiaolu complained and sat next to Gu Xinyao. Seeing that Jing Xiaolu, Yang Ming, Bai Hai, and Little Wang, these newcomers were sitting at the back, the students at the back who were feeling sorry for themselves suddenly became spirited. Originally, no one cared about these tables at the class reunion every year. Why would the students at the front who were doing well come here? This time, Yang Ming and the others actually sat at the back. It really gave the people at the back a lot of face. Especially among these people, they were like them last year. They were the kind of people who did not succeed. However, they succeeded this year and became the most powerful people in the class. This also gave these people a lot of encouragement and morale. It made them feel that there was hope in their future life. If they worked hard, they might also become successful people. Moreover, they encouraged each other and agreed that if someone among them succeeded next year, they would not sit at the front. They would also sit at the back so that the students at the front could see that the students at the back were not always depressed. Originally, according to the previous arrangement, Zhang Kaiyuan was going to speak before everyone ate. He had stayed up for a few nights to come up with an impassioned speech. He wanted to read it here. However, after being humiliated by Little Wang, how could he have the mood to give a speech on stage? Moreover, if he gave an impassioned speech in this situation, what would others think? After hesitating for a long time, Zhang Kaiyuan decided to give up on the speech. Just as he was about to inform the resort to cancel the speech before the meal, the restaurant's broadcast system suddenly played Karl Offer's Brand's poems. Along with the majestic song, the resort's MC had already walked out and said in his loud voice, "Welcome everyone to 39th High School's Class 02 Class 6 reunion. I am the host, Yu Zai. Next, let's invite the most successful person in our class to come on stage and say a few words for us. Everyone can guess who this person is? Jing Xiaolu." It was unknown who shouted, but then everyone followed and shouted, "Jing Xiaolu, it's Jing Xiaolu." Zhang Kaiyuan's face was very gloomy. Originally, he was the one who was doing the best in this class. He had arranged for this MC to highlight his identity and status. However, he did not expect that new problems would crop up today. Jing Xiaolu's achievements had surpassed him in one fell swoop, making the situation so awkward. Chapter 1645. According to Zhang Kaiyuan's original plan, at this time, everyone should be shouting his name loudly. Then, he would walk up the stage amidst the cheers and read out the script he had written. How impressive and cool would that be? However, life was unpredictable. Jing Xiaolu had obviously replaced him and became the person everyone was calling. Zhang Kaiyuan took a deep breath and looked at the students present. He knew very well that among these people, some of them had subconsciously and sincerely called out Jing Xiaolu's name. However, among those who echoed, there were definitely many who did it on purpose. everyone knew that this class reunion was arranged by him. Moreover, he and the other classmates did not know that Jing Xiaolu had become the chairman of Mingyang Entertainment. Therefore, before this event was arranged, Jing Xiaolu had nothing to do with it. The person the MC Yu Zai was referring to could not be Jing Xiaolu. However, everyone just had to call Jing Xiaolu's name. Wasn't this embarrassing for him? For a moment, Zhang Kaiyuan was in a dilemma. Indeed, he did not know what to do at this moment. He could not stand up to interrupt the MC and end the speech, nor could he not stand up. He could not go up the stage and continue his speech. In fact, besides Zhang Kaiyuan, Jing Xiaolu was also at a loss. Originally, Jing Xiaolu did not care much about what the MC Yu Zai said. She thought that things like going on stage to give a speech were arranged in advance. It was impossible for her to have anything to do with it. In fact, this was the truth of the matter. However, the classmates who did not know the truth took the initiative to call out Jing Xiaolu's name. What was even more infuriating was that the classmates who guessed the truth also followed suit. However, Jing Xiaolu also guessed the truth of the matter after being slightly stunned. She could not help but find it funny. "Hey, everyone is calling for you to go up the stage." Yang Ming also guessed the truth of the matter and said to Jing Xiaolu with some ridicule. "Arranged? It should be Zhang Kaiyuan, right?" Jing Xiaolu said with a smile, "Why would I go up? Besides, I am not prepared." Just as all the classmates were shouting Jing Xiaolu's name, the MC Yu Zai continued, "It seems that everyone's voice is quite loud. Then, as everyone wishes, let the most accomplished person in your hearts come up to the stage to say a few words for our gathering. Let's welcome the class's most accomplished person of the year, student Zhang Kaiyuan, to the stage." The host, Yu Zai, followed the lines that were rehearsed in advance. However, he was a little silly. He did not hear the students below the stage calling Jing Xiaolu's name instead of Zhang Kaiyuan's. Speaking of which, Yu Zai was originally a web novelist. However, because his novel was a flop, he switched to being an MC. That was why he was a newbie. He had never experienced a similar situation before, so he didn't pay attention to it. That was why he continued to follow the script and asked Zhang Kaiyuan to come on stage. Yu Zai's words silenced the audience. Everyone looked at Yu Zai, dumbfounded. They didn't know what to say. Let Zhang Kaiyuan go on stage. Jing Xiaolu didn't feel anything. She didn't want to go on stage, so it didn't matter who the host chose to go on stage. She didn't have any other thoughts. However, it was different for Zhang Kaiyuan. Zhang Kaiyuan's awkwardness at this time could be said to be extreme. Under such circumstances, the host still called out his name. Wasn't this a slap in the face? It was a blatant slap in the face. Zhang Kaiyuan's old face was red. He sat on the seat as if he was sitting on a stove. He felt that he couldn't sit or stand. If he went on stage now, wouldn't he be asking for trouble? If he didn't go on stage now, what was going on? Looking at the silence below, the host, Yu Zai, didn't realize what had happened. When he saw that Zhang Kaiyuan didn't go on stage according to the rehearsal, he was a little anxious. He thought that Zhang Kaiyuan felt embarrassed because everyone didn't applaud. Hence, he said, "Everyone, please give a round of applause. Let's welcome the most successful student of 39th High School 02 Class 6, Zhang Kaiyuan, Trading Company's General Manager, Zhang Kaiyuan, to come on stage." After he finished speaking, he took the lead to clap. Boom. It was unknown who started it, but the audience finally couldn't help but burst into laughter. Then, more and more people laughed together. Then, someone took the lead to clap. The laughter and applause were endless. If one didn't know better, they would think that there was a wonderful crosstalk performance on stage. This sudden strange reaction made the host, Yu Zai, feel a little baffled. He thought to himself, "These people are just clapping. Why are they still laughing? Was it really that funny to be his host? It seems that I have the potential to be a comedian. In the future, if I can't survive in the host industry, it's not a bad idea to change to a crosstalk actor. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't expect that Yu Zai would continue to call for a second time after his first call didn't work. He even made people clap. The clapping sounds were like slaps on Zhang Kaiyuan's face, making him feel ashamed and unable to show his face. Seeing that Zhang Kaiyuan still didn't go on stage, Yu Zai, who didn't know what was going on, spoke again. He thought that he was humorous enough to attract the laughter of the audience. Hence, he said self-righteously, it seems that our most successful student is still shy. He's still hugging the pipa and covering half his face. Everyone's applause isn't good enough. Everyone can give more applause. Wow. As soon as the words of support for Yu Zai fell, the applause below the stage became enthusiastic again. However, one of the students mischievously shouted Jing Xiaolu's name again, Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu. Ha 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 ha. The laughter below the stage came again. Then, someone began to echo, Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu. Zhang Kaiyuan's expression became even worse. He scolded Yu Zai 100 times in his heart, but there was nothing he could do. He decided that he wouldn't give Yu Zai a single cent of reward. This time, the host Yu Zai finally heard the voice calling Jing Xiaolu clearly. Previously, when the people below the stage shouted Jing Xiaolu, it wasn't that he didn't hear it at all. He just didn't care too much. Now that he heard someone shouting Jing Xiaolu again, he came back to his senses. Could it be that he called the wrong person? The person on stage now should be Jing Xiaolu and not Zhang Kaiyuan? Thinking of this, the host Yu Zai suddenly broke out in cold sweat. Could it be that he had too little experience as an MC and gave the wrong person's name? Seeing that the people below the stage were shouting Jing Xiaolu so loudly, the more the host Yu Zai thought about it, the more likely it was. He quickly took out the prepared script from his pocket and flipped through it. When the host, Yu Zai, clearly saw that Zhang Kaiyuan's name was written on the script and not Jing Xiaolu's name, he was a little confused. I didn't call the wrong name. Why are there so many people calling out Jing Xiaolu's name? What is going on? Looking at the people below the stage, the host Yu Zai touched his hair and said, did everyone call the wrong name? I think that the person with the highest achievement in the class should be student Zhang Kaiyuan, right? Ha 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 ha. The moment the host Yu Zai's voice fell, it attracted another round of laughter from the students below. Some people even laughed until tears flowed out. What is everyone laughing at? The host Yu Zai lowered his head shyly. Is the program hosted by others so funny? I'm really honored. Ha 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 ha. The students below the stage laughed even more happily. The host Yu Zai thought, I really have a talent for hosting. The atmosphere of the scene was livened up by me to the extreme. Besides me, who else has such great charm? I'm so proud. Everyone is laughing, but shouldn't we invite student Zhang Kaiyuan to come on stage and say a few words for us? The host Yu Zai said narcissistically, since everyone likes to watch my programs so much, you can come and support me often. Ha 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 ha. The laughter below the stage was still endless. Chapter 1646. The host, Yu Zai, waited for a long time, but Zhang Kaiyuan did not come on stage. The laughter below the stage continued. Yu Zai was a little anxious. It can't be dragged on like this. President Zhang, don't you think you should come on stage? The host, Yu Zai, couldn't help but call Zhang Kaiyuan, why are you not coming on stage? I still have to host someone else's wedding later. If Zhang Kaiyuan could kill with his thoughts, he would have killed this Yu Zai in seconds. He thought in his heart, if I don't go on stage, you can just continue with the next segment. Why are you not done yet? The host, Yu Zai, was a little anxious when Zhang Kaiyuan did not come on stage. President Zhang, what's wrong with you? Didn't we agree beforehand? You came on stage to speak. Why aren't you coming on stage? Ha 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 ha. When the students below the stage heard Yu Zai's words, the laughter that had subsided broke out again. What does this mean? The host, Yu Zai, was a little unhappy. Did you change the host at the last minute? Why didn't you tell me that it was Jing Xiaolu? I thought it was Zhang Kaiyuan. That's not right. Ha 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 ha. The laughter below the stage was still very warm. Enough. Zhang Kaiyuan finally couldn't help it. He slammed the table and stood up. He pointed at Yu Zai and scolded, "What's wrong with you? Is there anyone who hosts like you? Do you not want to take the money anymore? What's wrong with me?" The host, Yu Zai, stared at Zhang Kaiyuan, unwilling to be outdone. "You set the process. I followed your instructions completely. You don't want to pay? What do you mean by following my instructions? Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and go down. There's nothing for you to do here." Zhang Kaiyuan was a little anxious when he heard Yu Zai's words become more and more unreliable. He even mentioned his previous arrangement. "What nonsense are you talking about?" The host, Yu Zai, said, "Didn't you say before? You asked me to play an interactive game with the students below the stage before you go on stage. You asked me to let them guess who is the most successful person in the class before you go on stage. Why? You don't want to admit it? What the fuck are you talking about? I will complain to your boss. You're spouting nonsense." Zhang Kaiyuan roared with an ashen face. "Complain? Okay. How do you know my boss's name is Hu Shua? My boss's surname is Hu. His name is Hu Shua." The host, Yu Zai, said. "You." Zhang Kaiyuan was so angry that he couldn't speak. He didn't expect Yu Zai to be so eloquent. However, he forgot one thing. If a host wasn't eloquent, how could he be a host? Me? What about me? I think you want to go back on your word and not pay up, right? But it doesn't matter. I don't want old fish anymore. Look at your big face. Boss Zhang? Boss my ass. And you want me to say that you are the most accomplished person in class? What kind of achievement is that? How can someone like you have achievements? Aren't you being too narcissistic? The host, Yu Zai, also threw caution to the wind. It seemed that he couldn't get the money, so he didn't have to give Zhang Kaiyuan any face. I think the students below the stage have sharp eyes. Everyone says that Jing Xiaolu is the one with the highest achievements. I think so too. You. Zhang Kaiyuan clutched his chest and almost fainted. You. Get the fuck out of here, even if you want me to be here, I'm too lazy to be here. Yu Zai snorted. You can be narcissistic. I'm not going to accompany you. If you want to complain, go ahead. Bye-bye, sayonara, CAO. After saying that, the host, Yu Zai, turned around and left, leaving behind an indignant Zhang Kaiyuan. After the host, Yu Zai, left, the atmosphere in the banquet hall suddenly became cold. Only Zhang Kaiyuan was left standing there in a daze. As for the students below, it was just an unintentional action. Later on, they thought that it was just a joke. They didn't expect things to become so stiff. Moreover, Zhang Kaiyuan couldn't take jokes. But they couldn't let this stalemate continue. If Zhang Kaiyuan didn't finish his speech, the restaurant wouldn't serve the dishes either. Left with no choice, someone shouted, "Why don't we let Zhang Kaiyuan say a few words for us? What do you all think? Alright, let's let Zhang Kaiyuan say a few words for us." The people below agreed one after another. However, when these words entered Zhang Kaiyuan's ears, it sounded extremely ironic. He felt like it was a kind of charity. It was as if everyone was giving him charity. Originally, he shouldn't be the one to speak. It should be Jing Xiaolu. Now, he was the one to speak. How could Zhang Kaiyuan endure this? Let's ask Jing Xiaolu to say a few words for us. Zhang Kaiyuan took a deep breath and said that Yu Zai was crazy. Everyone, ignore him. It's like watching a farce. Originally, I wanted to invite the most accomplished person in the class to say a few words for this segment. However, that Yu Zai wanted to please me and get more rewards. Therefore, he changed the flow of the segment without permission. I didn't expect that after I exposed him, he would become angry and bite me back. Hee, we know. Although everyone said so, no one knew what they were thinking in their hearts. This Zhang Kaiyuan's explanation was too fake. No one would believe that what he said was true. I won't say anything. I didn't prepare anything in advance. This opportunity should be left to those who are prepared in advance. Jing Xiaolu stood up and said faintly, "Right, committee member Zhang Kaiyuan?" Jing Xiaolu's words immediately made Zhang Kaiyuan's face turn red like a monkey's butt. Although Jing Xiaolu didn't say it explicitly, she secretly pointed out that Zhang Kaiyuan was prepared in advance, but she wasn't. Therefore, Zhang Kaiyuan should say what he wanted to say. Although Jing Xiaolu's words were funny, the people present were afraid that new problems would arise again. They didn't dare to laugh casually to avoid ruining the atmosphere that had just calmed down. Therefore, they could only laugh secretly in their hearts. Committee member Zhang Kaiyuan should say a few words. Everyone was hungry and was eager to eat. At this time, they didn't care whether Zhang Kaiyuan was the most accomplished person or not. It was up to them to decide. Since Jing Xiaolu didn't care, why should they care too? So, as soon as Jing Xiaolu's voice fell, everyone began to make suggestions. Well, since everyone admires me so much, then I'll say a few words. Zhang Kaiyuan could only pretend to be confused at this time. Sometimes, it wasn't good to be too clear. Since others pretended not to know, he was happy to do so. As Zhang Kaiyuan spoke, he walked up the stage. Halfway through, he heard a voice not far away, pretentious. "Didn't you go up the stage yourself in the end? What the hell?" Zhang Kaiyuan was so angry that he trembled. He almost fell to the ground. He looked at the source of the voice angrily. It turned out that it was Yu Zai who had left before. He didn't know when he appeared at the door again. "I asked you to go up the stage, but you didn't. After that, you went up by yourself. I think you just don't want to pay me. You're a bitch." Yu Zai's voice sounded again. "You." Zhang Kaiyuan wanted to say something, but he saw Yu Zai turn around and disappear at the door. Zhang Kaiyuan had no choice but to pretend that he didn't hear it and continue to walk up the stage. It was just a few steps, but it felt like a long march of 20,000 miles. Zhang Kaiyuan used up all his strength and finally stood on the stage. He then said, "Thank you, everyone, for giving me this opportunity. Let me represent the entire class and say a few words at this class reunion." When it came to the lines that he had prepared for a few nights, Zhang Kaiyuan became excited again. Zhang Kaiyuan seemed to have forgotten his previous unhappiness and was completely engrossed in the speech this time. However, while Zhang Kaiyuan was engrossed, the students below were a little impatient. Previously, a lot of time was delayed because of the host Yu Zai and Jing Xiaolu. Now, Zhang Kaiyuan was giving a long speech here. How long would they have to wait before they could eat? It was really as Jing Xiaolu said. Zhang Kaiyuan was prepared. Otherwise, how could he speak for so long? Everyone was very unhappy in their hearts. "We were already giving you face by letting you go up and say a few words. However, can't you just say a few short words? You can't be so endless, right?" It seems that Zhang Kaiyuan is really prepared. Chapter 1647. This sentence was what everyone wanted to say, but they were too embarrassed to say it. Previously, everyone unanimously recommended Zhang Kaiyuan to say a few words for the sake of food. However, they did not expect this guy to talk endlessly. This made everyone a little irritated. However, Zhang Kaiyuan was a person that everyone unanimously approved of. Everyone was too embarrassed to say anything unpleasant. However, it did not mean that everyone had no opinion. Others did not dare to say it, but Little Wang dared to say it. Little Wang did not need to give Zhang Kaiyuan any face. Little Wang saw that Yang Ming was frowning slightly at Zhang Kaiyuan's endless speech, so he stood up and shouted directly. Zhang Kaiyuan was passionately talking about his prepared speech. He was in high spirits when he suddenly heard such a sentence. It immediately pulled him back to reality from his dream. Who is so uncultured? He actually interrupted my speech. Zhang Kaiyuan was annoyed. Although he did not stop his speech, after being interrupted, he completely forgot all the impromptu remarks that he had done so well. Zhang Kaiyuan bitterly looked for the target to speak to in the field. He immediately saw little Wang's mocking face. Damn it, it's him again. Zhang Kaiyuan felt that he was really fucking aggrieved. He was played by a person who used to be a small security guard several times in one day. However, Zhang Kaiyuan didn't dare to show the slightest displeasure because little Wang was no longer an ordinary security guard in the past. Now, little Wang was the security manager and the deputy logistics manager of Ming Yang Entertainment. His identity was much better than his identity as the general manager of a small trading company. He was especially afraid of little Wang, who used to be a security guard. As the saying goes, when a scholar meets a soldier, it is impossible to reason with him. Zhang Kaiyuan would try his best not to offend such a barbarian. However, Zhang Kaiyuan put this on Yang Ming's head. In his opinion, Yang Ming was a useless rich second generation. When the time came, he would use some means to make him piss his pants in fear. Thinking of this, Zhang Kaiyuan's heart felt a little better. Otherwise, he would be depressed to death. Now, he could only fantasize about Yang Ming's future. Zhang Kaiyuan cleared his throat and continued his speech. He was at the climax of his speech, but he did not want to stop. Therefore, he simply ignored little Wang and pretended not to hear it. In fact, little Wang was still a little nervous about shouting out such a thing. He was afraid that Yang Ming would think that he was a busybody. But on the other hand, this was also a gamble. He was trying to figure out the boss's mind. If he followed Yang Ming's mind, then Yang Ming would definitely value him more in the future. However, Yang Ming was really annoyed. Young Zhang Kaiyuan. He was a little of. Looking at little Wang approvingly, Yang Ming nodded slightly. When little Wang received Yang Ming's encouraging gaze, it was as if he had been injected with stimulants. His whole body was in an extremely excited state. Zhang Kaiyuan, you are really shameless. I let you go on stage because I gave you face. I saw that you were a former member of the organization and now the founder of the class reunion. However, it is not right for you to go on like this. Do you really think that you are the most accomplished person? The eyes of the masses are clear. The most accomplished person is our CEO Jing, not a retard like you. Wang Lin's merciless scolding interrupted Zhang Kaiyuan's speech. The students in the audience also became silent. Although everyone had seen the scene outside the resort and knew that Wang Lin and Zhang Kaiyuan had a conflict, they did not expect the conflict between the two to escalate to such an extent. Looking at the current situation, Wang Lin did not intend to give Zhang Kaiyuan any face at all. He had already decided to shed all pretense of cordiality. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't expect Wang Lin to be so blunt. He even used the word idiot in the end. This made Zhang Kaiyuan lose a lot of face. Standing on the stage, he couldn't get off. In fact, Wang Lin's words represented the thoughts of many students. They came here to have fun, not to listen to Zhang Kaiyuan's nonsense. Their jobs had nothing to do with Zhang Kaiyuan, and they did not expect any benefits from having a good relationship with Zhang Kaiyuan. Only a small portion of people could interact with Zhang Kaiyuan in terms of benefits. Only this portion of people sincerely wanted to get close to Zhang Kaiyuan. Therefore, Wang Lin's few words caused the current awkward atmosphere. In the end, one of the people sitting at the first table who had a good relationship with Zhang Kaiyuan stood up and said, "Kaiyuan, I see that everyone is hungry. Why don't we start eating?" Brother Wang Lin's words are a bit radical. Don't mind it. Zhang Kaiyuan nodded and looked at this person gratefully. Then, he took this opportunity to leave the stage without saying anything. At this time, he could not say anything else. If he said anything more, it would only make things more awkward. Originally, the class reunion that Zhang Kaiyuan had been planning and looking forward to for a long time was ruined by Wang Lin. It was far below his expectations and even had a negative effect. If he knew this would happen, he would have called a few people who were close to him to have a meal together. Why did he have to organize a class reunion? However, if he knew this would happen, why did he do it in the first place? Zhang Kaiyuan had already forgotten his original purpose. He organized the class reunion just to show off his achievements in front of his former classmates. Wang Lin still wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Yang Ming. Yang Ming made a pause gesture and said to Wang Lin, "That's enough. You don't have to chase after him." "Yes, Brother Yang," Wang Lin quickly said respectfully after hearing this. "I think this Zhang Kaiyuan is not a magnanimous person. Instead, he is a bit narrow-minded. I'm afraid that he will hold a grudge." "You have to be careful," Yang Ming reminded him. Wang Lin shook his head in disdain. "I'm really not afraid of him. I can take care of 3 of him by myself." "Anyway, you have to be careful," Yang Ming reminded faintly. "I know," Wang Lin nodded. The meal was eaten in a very depressing atmosphere. Many of the entertainment programs that Zhang Kaiyuan had prepared in advance had to be cancelled. However, it was not a big deal. After all, the host Yuzai had left. Zhang Kaiyuan could not find another host at the last minute. However, some programs such as his toast to every table were cancelled. How could Zhang Kaiyuan have the face to toast to every table now? Although the people at the table beside him kept comforting him, telling him to ignore little Wang, a security guard with a rough background. However, Zhang Kaiyuan still couldn't help but hold his breath. On the other hand, the people at the back who had nothing to do with Zhang Kaiyuan were much more at ease. Many of them had their own small circles and were eating and drinking together happily. Therefore, those who had a good relationship with Zhang Kaiyuan were eating with depression. On the other hand, the people at the back were very happy. It was the exact opposite of the situation every year. Every year, the people at the tables near Zhang Kaiyuan would cheer loudly. The people at the other tables would be envious and jealous. However, they knew their own status and did not dare to get close to them. They did not dare to steal the spotlight. However, there was a huge contrast this year. The further they went, the more the students who were not doing well felt relieved. In the past, no one would pay attention to their table and let them eat and drink on their own. But this year, with little Wang's words, these people ate happily and enjoyed themselves to their heart's content. Their cheers shook the sky, and they became the liveliest tables in the hall. Zhang Kaiyuan felt even more uncomfortable. In the end, he could not bear it anymore. He excused himself to go to the washroom and went to the resort's entrance. Zhang Kaiyuan hesitated for a while. In the end, he decisively took out his phone and dialed a number. "Brother Da? I am Zhang Kaiyuan," Zhang Kaiyuan said nervously. "Zhang Kaiyuan? Who? I don't know you." After hearing Zhang Kaiyuan's name, the person on the other side of the phone wanted to hang up impatiently. "Wait a minute, Brother Da. It's me, Zhang Laofu's son." Zhang Kaiyuan quickly reported his father's nickname. Chapter 1648. "Oh. Zhang Laofu's son? Zhang Xiaonao?" Brother Da's tone returned to normal after hearing Zhang Laofu's name. It's me, Brother Da." Although Zhang Kaiyuan didn't like the nickname Zhang Xiaonao, he couldn't help it. His father always liked to call him Zhang Xiaonao in front of outsiders, so those people didn't know that his real name was Zhang Kaiyuan. They all called him Zhang Xiaonao like his father. "Oh, what's the matter?" Brother Da said calmly after confirming Zhang Xiaonao's identity. This Brother Da was a fellow villager in Zhang Kaiyuan's father, Zhang Laofu's hometown. He was a gangster. A few years ago, it was said that he was doing well outside. For some reason, he returned to his hometown and was seriously injured. After recovering from his injuries, he began to run amok in his hometown. He soon recruited people and became a tyrant in his hometown. During Chinese New Year a few days ago, Zhang Laofu brought Zhang Kaiyuan home for Chinese New Year. Then, the villagers gambled together and got to know this brother De. In terms of seniority, this brother De was a distant cousin of Zhang Laofu. However, because brother De was very powerful in his hometown, Zhang Laofu didn't dare to be arrogant. He called him brother De, and Zhang Kaiyuan naturally called him brother De too. This seniority seemed a bit messy, but people in the society liked to be called brothers. Brother De was no exception. Zhang Laofu was the same as Zhang Kaiyuan. They were both smooth and slick people. He felt that this brother De was very influential in his hometown. Maybe he could use him sometime. In the past few years, Zhang Laofu felt that it was much more difficult to make money in a big city than in a small place if one did not have connections and connections. In a small place, he could find his relatives in every village. No matter how far they were, he would still have connections. It was much easier to do things than in the city. Therefore, he had the idea of opening a big business in his hometown. If he opened a business at home, he would inevitably have to deal with these gangsters in society to prevent them from causing trouble. This brother De was his distant cousin, so it was a good opportunity to get closer to him. Therefore, during the new year, Zhang Laofu called Zhang Kaiyuan, brother De, and one of brother De's assistants to play mahjong together. Under Zhang Laofu's hints, Zhang Kaiyuan lost a lot of money to brother De. In this way, brother De had a good impression of the father and son. He patted his chest and agreed. If there was anything in the future, he would definitely not refuse a call. Therefore, this time, Zhang Kaiyuan thought of brother De. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't know many people in society. The only person he knew was brother De. Zhang Kaiyuan knew that his father would need brother De's help in the future. Since he had asked brother De to help him, this debt of gratitude would be reduced every time he used it. When the time came, he might have to invest a lot of money again. However, Zhang Kaiyuan could not take this lying down. If he didn't give Yang Ming an unforgettable lesson, he wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. So this time, he hesitated again and again and decided to trouble brother De. Otherwise, he might get sick from holding it in. Brother De, I do have something to trouble you with. I don't know if you are free? Zhang Kaiyuan asked carefully. He wasn't sure if he could order brother De around. After all, it was his father who asked brother De out during the new year. Although he lost the money to brother De should be able to see that this was done under the instructions of his father, Zhang Laofu. Oh. What is it? Tell me first and see if I can do it. Brother De had a good impression of Zhang Laofu and his father. In any case, they were considered distant relatives. Moreover, Zhang Laofu had lost more than 100,000 yuan to him during the new year. This made brother De very grateful. Although brother De was doing well in the village, opening a hair salon and a nightclub, this was the time for him to recruit people. Recruiting people naturally required a lot of money. Who would play with you if you didn't have money? When brother De needed money the most, Zhang Laofu and his father gave him more than 100,000 yuan. Although it wasn't much, it could solve the current emergency. How could brother De not be grateful? That was why brother De was so patient with Zhang Kaiyuan. Brother De had a secret that he hadn't said. That was the reason why he suddenly returned to his hometown after mingling outside for so many years and was injured. He didn't tell this reason to anyone, not even his closest subordinates. This was because this was an eternal pain in the depths of brother De's heart. He was driven back by others, and his injury was also caused by others. He almost died in a foreign land. If it weren't for a brother who risked his life to protect him, he would have died long ago. Brother De, who was originally awe-inspiring, was like a stray dog. He was driven out of the metropolis where he once thrived and returned to his small hometown. After his injury was healed, brother De began to recruit people. Brother De's ultimate goal wasn't to run rampant in the village, but to make a comeback. He wanted the person who humiliated him to die without a burial place. He wanted revenge. He wanted to get back everything he lost. Of course, Brother Da didn't tell anyone about this idea. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but he thought that the time wasn't right yet. He was afraid that too many people would gossip. If his news reached the ears of his enemies, they would eliminate him completely. The current him wasn't an opponent at all. Therefore, Brother Da was now like other big bullies in the countryside, living a drunken life and leading a group of brothers to do some shady business. Although it was a little against the rules, it could be covered up very well. At this time, Brother Da received Zhang Kaiyuan's call, and his thoughts began to become active again. If I can persuade this father and son to return to their hometown to invest in a company, I don't need a lot. I just need a share. That would be a considerable amount of income. It had to be said that Zhang Laofu did have this idea. If he had proposed this idea earlier, maybe he wouldn't have to give out the 100,000 yuan. Brother Da, I held a class reunion here. A female classmate I like is with another man, and that man looks down on me. I want to teach him a lesson. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't hide it. Brother Da would definitely be able to find out about these things. If he deliberately hid it, Brother Da would definitely not let him go. Oh, this. Brother Da hesitated for a while and felt that this was not a big deal. He had done this kind of thing many times in his hometown, so he said, "What's that person's background?" "He's a rich second generation. His family is quite rich." Zhang Kaiyuan said, "Now he has his own company." "Oh. Doesn't he have bodyguards or thugs around him?" Brother Da was very careful. When he heard that it was a rich second generation, he subconsciously wondered if there were any masters around this person. "A security manager in his company is following him, but we can choose a time when they are not together before we make a move," said Zhang Kaiyuan. "Just a follower?" Brother Da was relieved when he heard it. Who cares if he is a security manager? What's the use of a person being good at fighting? I can just bring a few more brothers. There is another one. He is a property company manager. He used to be a gangster. Zhang Kaiyuan suddenly thought of Bai Hai again, so he quickly said to Brother Da. "Then it's fine." Brother Da said indifferently, "It's fine even if they are around." "Then, Brother Da, are you agreeing to help me?" Zhang Kaiyuan was overjoyed when he heard Brother Da's tone. It seemed that he had agreed. "I can do this. It's naturally not a problem to help you." Brother Da smiled. "When?" "The sooner the better. It's best if it's tonight. I can't wait any longer." Zhang Kaiyuan said excitedly, "Brother Da, do you know how they humiliated me? They put me on the spot in front of so many of my classmates." "Okay, wait for me to bring a few brothers over." "Where are you? Are you in Songjiang City?" asked Brother Da. Chapter 1649. No, it's a resort next to Jiduan City. It's called Immortal Resort. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't know how Brother Da knew about Songjiang. When he went back to his hometown, he seemed to have only mentioned Songjiang once with his father. Brother Da had a good memory and remembered it once. Oh, then there's no problem. Brother Da was relieved when he heard that it was not in Songjiang. To be honest, Brother Da didn't want to do anything in Songjiang because he was very clear about the current power situation in Songjiang. He didn't want to cause trouble before the big plan. "This resort is at XX Road, XX number. Are you coming over now?" asked Zhang Kaiyuan. Wait for me there. I'll bring people over. I'll call you when I arrive," said Brother Da. "Okay, Brother Da, then I'll wait for you." Zhang Kaiyuan didn't expect Brother Da to agree so readily to stand up for him. He couldn't help but want to cheer a few times. "Call me when you come. I'll pick you up." "Okay, that's it then." Brother Da responded and hung up the phone. Brother Da was actually a very low-key person. Without enough strength to go back and avenge his humiliation, Brother Da was not prepared to provoke any powerful enemies. However, the thing that Zhang Kaiyuan asked him to do today was nothing. Brother Da thought carefully. It's just teaching a rich second generation. It's not a big deal. It's such a simple thing, and I can sell a favor to Zhang Kaiyuan and his son. Why not? So, after Brother Da hung up the phone, he found his capable subordinate, Ma Laosi. Brother Da, are you looking for me? Ma Laosi was playing mahjong with a group of brothers. After receiving Brother Da's call, he rushed over quickly. Go out with me in a while to do something. Brother Da said, you find a few brothers to go with you. Oh. Brother Da, are we going to fight people this time? Do we need to bring weapons? Ma Laosi's interest was piqued as soon as he heard this. He was so bored every day. He had nothing to do. He basically knew everyone in this village, so he couldn't get into a fight with them. He yearned for the life of a gangster with a large knife on TV. Why bring weapons? It's just teaching a little kid a lesson. Brother Da waved his hand and said, but you can use some daggers to scare him. I see. Ma Laosi was a little disappointed when he heard it. He nodded and said, I'll do it now. After more than 10 minutes, Ma Laosi returned. This time, he brought 3 people with him. All of them were young, in their 20s. They belonged to the kind of people who were idling in the village. Brother Da had developed them into his subordinates. Every day, they lived a good life, much better than farming. Alright, you guys come with me. Which car are we driving? Ma Laosi asked. Come Laosi. Ma Laosi responded, turned around, and ran out to prepare. The 3 young men waited respectfully for Brother Da to put on his coat. Then, they went out together. After Zhang Kaiyuan hung up the phone, the anger in his heart was finally vented. He imagined Yang Ming crying for his parents in a while. The humiliation he received before did not make him feel so uncomfortable. When he returned to the restaurant, no one asked him what he did just now. They just thought that he went to the toilet and smoked a cigarette. No one thought much about it. His village was very far away from here. It was impossible for Brother Da to come here without at least 3 to 5 hours. Therefore, Zhang Kaiyuan was not in a hurry. He continued to brag and drink with the people he was familiar with at a moderate pace. Yang Ming was not very interested in the food on the table. Yang Ming was not very willing to eat the resort's dishes. Yang Ming had eaten too much fish and meat. Instead, he preferred the lighter dishes. Yang Ming, you don't like to eat? Jing Xiaolu was also not interested in the food on the table. She had to maintain her figure. She was no longer poor and had not eaten anything. Therefore, she put down her chopsticks after eating 2 mouthfuls. I like to eat street snacks. I don't have much appetite for such traditional fish. Yang Ming shook his head. Originally, little Wang was eating happily. He had just been Yang Ming's driver for a few days. He usually did not have the opportunity to eat such good food. Therefore, when he saw the table full of fish, he ate without holding back. After hearing Yang Ming's words, little Wang put down his chopsticks awkwardly. He looked up and took a closer look. Sure enough, he was the only one eating happily. Bai Hai did not eat much. Gu Xinyao and his girlfriend, Little Ran, did not eat much. Needless to say, Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu were the only ones eating here. Cough cough. Little Wang coughed twice awkwardly. Brother Yang, is it not to your taste? Do you want me to go to the kitchen to get something for you and sister-in-law? No need. After a while, we will walk around and see if there are any snacks. Yang Ming waved his hand. Why are you looking at us? Hurry up and eat. Yang Ming naturally saw little Wang wolfing down the food before. When he saw little Wang stop at this time, he immediately asked. None of you are eating. I'm the only one eating. Little Wang scratched his head embarrassedly and said awkwardly. You hurry up and eat more. We did not pay less. If you don't eat more, how can you get your money back? Yang Ming smiled and said, there are no outsiders. You don't have to be so polite. This is not very good. Little Wang was still a little embarrassed. After all, others were not eating, but he was the only one eating. It didn't seem right. Brother Yang asked you to eat. Just eat. Why are you so troublesome? Sun Shaoran nudged Little Wang with her arm and said, "You're a man. Why are you afraid of this?" "That's right. Little Wang, look. You are not as good as Sun Shaoran," Jing Xiaolu said after hearing Sun Shaoran's words. Little Wang's face turned red after hearing Jing Xiaolu's words. However, with Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu's approval, Little Wang no longer hesitated. He let go of his appetite and continued wolfing down the food. Originally, the annual class reunion banquet lasted the longest. In many cases, it would last until the early hours of the morning. Then, everyone would return to their rooms and begin their free activities. However, due to Zhang Kaiyuan's matter this year, the enthusiasm and atmosphere of the entire banquet were not high. There was always a faint sense of depression. Zhang Kaiyuan did not go from table to toast and adjust the atmosphere like in previous years. This year, he only sat at his own table and whispered to a few friends he was familiar with. About an hour into the banquet, people began to leave one after another. Zhang Kaiyuan was also a little helpless about the situation in front of him. However, there was nothing he could do. He also did not have the face to ask others to stay. He sighed secretly. If I don't teach Yang Ming a lesson today, I'm afraid it will be difficult to continue holding future class reunions. With him causing trouble here, where can I put my face? Yang Ming saw that people began to leave, so he also stood up. When Yang Ming stood up, Bai Hai, Little Wang, Gu Xinyao, and Sun Shaoran also stood up. However, Jing Xiaolu was the slowest one. Shall we go? Shall we go out for a walk? Asked Yang Ming. Then let's go out for a walk. Brother Yang and sister-in-law Xiaolu haven't eaten much yet. We can go out and see if there is anything to sell, said Bai Hai. Although Zhang Kaiyuan had been drinking and chatting with the people at the same table, the corner of his eyes had been locked on Yang Ming's table. When he saw Yang Ming stand up, he immediately sighed in relief. He was now afraid that Yang Ming would stay in this banquet hall and not leave. When the time came, he would return to his room with the large group of people. In that case, even if Brother De came, he would not be able to do anything. Could he make a move on Yang Ming in front of so many classmates? Even if his classmates did not care, the hotel security could not ignore it. However, once Yang Ming left, it would be easy. When he was alone, it would be the best time for Brother De to make a move. Chapter 1650. Brother Yang, Xinyao is in a special situation today. I'll accompany her back to the room to use the bathroom, Bai Hai said to Yang Ming after walking out of the restaurant. Gu Xinyao was too embarrassed to speak, so she hinted to Bai Hai. Oh, then let's go together. I'm also going to the bathroom, Yang Ming was embarrassed and said. Since Yang Ming and Bai Hai were going to go back to the hotel room to take a look, Little Wang and Sun Shaoran naturally had no objections. So, the group walked directly to the villa building. After Zhang Kaiyuan saw that Yang Ming had left, he wasn't in the mood to sit here and drink anymore. He greeted the people at the same table and said that he couldn't handle the alcohol. He wanted to go back to his room to rest for a while and play cards at night. Basically, everyone knew that Zhang Kaiyuan was in a bad mood after being humiliated. It was good enough that he could endure and eat until now. Yang Ming hadn't left yet, so Zhang Kaiyuan naturally wouldn't leave first. Since Yang Ming and the others had already left, Zhang Kaiyuan naturally didn't need to endure anymore. So, everyone understood why Zhang Kaiyuan left. After Yang Ming and the others left, Zhang Kaiyuan followed them from a distance. He found that they were heading in the direction of the villa building. Obviously, they were going back to their rooms. Zhang Kaiyuan was a little anxious. He thought, why aren't these people going out to have fun at night? Why are they going back to their rooms? There were many entertainment projects in this resort. There were disco halls, KTV, swimming pools, bowling alleys, video game rooms, gyms, indoor fishing halls, and so on. Most people went to such places to play after dinner. Not many people went back to their rooms directly. Maybe they are going back to their rooms to change their clothes. Zhang Kaiyuan comforted himself in his heart. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't go back to his room. He found a place to hide at the entrance of the villa building. He squatted there and decided to wait. It was better when they went upstairs. Once they returned to the room, Yang Ming felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. I'm actually in the same room as Jing Xiaolu. When he received the room card previously, because Bai Hai helped him to get it, Yang Ming didn't care and didn't think much about it. When he entered the room, he entered naturally. After he closed the door, he realized that something was wrong. Am I going to share a room with Jing Xiaolu tonight? Even though the room was a standard one with 2 beds, the atmosphere was somewhat ambiguous. Jing Xiaolu obviously felt this too. She didn't know if it was because the heater in the room was too hot or for some other reason, but her face couldn't help but turn red as soon as she entered the room. Calm down, Xiaolu, you have to calm down. Jing Xiaolu only felt that her face was burning, so she cheered herself up. Why didn't I have this kind of feeling when I went to a hotel with those dumb rich guys in the past? No matter how dangerous it was, he was still able to escape from the room unscathed, and this time, Yang Ming might not necessarily do anything to him, so what was there to be nervous about? Besides, even if Yang Ming treated her well, wasn't that what she had been looking forward to? What was there for him to be uneasy about? However, the more it was like this, the more nervous Jing Xiaolu became. Even her breathing became a little hurried. Feeling Jing Xiaolu's strangeness, Yang Ming looked at her with some surprise. Xiaolu, what's wrong with you? Why does it look so hot? Do you want to take off your clothes? Ah. Jing Xiaolu was shocked after hearing Yang Ming's words, but her face became redder. She stuttered, what, now, take off my clothes? Jing Xiaolu didn't expect that what she thought would come true. I just entered the room, and I have to take off my clothes and go to bed? But I'm not ready yet. Don't you feel hot? Yang Ming glanced at Jing Xiaolu strangely. He didn't understand why she was so nervous. How can you wear a coat in the room? Ah, coat, oh. Jing Xiaolu's nervous little heart suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, but she was slightly disappointed. It's just a coat. Not all of it. Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu took off her coat resentfully and threw it on the bed next to her. She began to association in her heart. Is Yang Ming hinting at me or testing me? If I take off all my clothes, will he take advantage of the situation? If I only take off my coat, there is nothing wrong with it. Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu had some resentment and entanglement. Am I a bit too timid? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm in the same room with Yang Ming. It will be difficult to have such an opportunity in the future. Can I do it in the office during the day? At night, I don't have a chance to be alone with Yang Ming. Of course, it's the coat. Do you want to take off all of it? Yang Ming felt that Jing Xiaolu's behavior was so weird, so he casually made a joke with her. However, after the joke, Yang Ming felt that something was wrong. He also understood why Jing Xiaolu had such a weird expression just now. It seems that Jing Xiaolu misunderstood. She thought that I wanted her to take off all of her clothes. Thinking of this, Yang Ming secretly scolded himself for being slow. This is fine, but I even made such a joke. Isn't this looking for trouble? Originally, Yang Ming thought that Jing Xiaolu would be angry or even more shy, but he didn't expect. After Jing Xiaolu heard Yang Ming's joke, she didn't answer immediately. Instead, she pondered about what Yang Ming's joke meant. Could it be that Yang Ming failed to test me before, so he tested me again? But, is it true or not? Jing Xiaolu wasn't sure. Can I ask Yang Ming if you're testing me? What would that be? Jing Xiaolu was just upset that she lost a good opportunity. At this time, another opportunity came. Jing Xiaolu didn't want to give up so easily. Sometimes, one would only know how to cherish something after losing it once. Jing Xiaolu also knew that this kind of opportunity wouldn't come often in the future, so Jing Xiaolu hesitated. Should they follow Yang Ming's orders or not? Jing Xiaolu gritted her teeth. Anyway, I'll be his woman sooner or later. Why don't I just follow him? Anyway, it's just like that. If I don't do it tonight, I don't know when it will happen. Won't I regret it to death? Moreover, even if I follow Yang Ming tonight, I will never regret it. So, why should I hesitate? Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu just wanted to agree with Yang Ming, but she was a little hesitant. I'm a girl after all. Although I'm pursuing Yang Ming, I can't be too active, right? If I'm too active, won't it seem very casual? What should I do? Jing Xiaolu hesitated for a moment. She thought, since you're testing me, then I'll also test you. I'll give you the right to decide so that I don't have to be embarrassed. Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu raised her head shyly and looked at Yang Ming. She said word by word in a seductive voice, then, do you want me to take it all off? Or just take off the coat? Jing Xiaolu's answer immediately made Yang Ming fall into a petrified state. He had predicted two possible reactions from Jing Xiaolu. One was to be furious, and the other was to be silent. However, he did not expect that Jing Xiaolu would return the question to him and ask him back. Yang Ming did not expect that his joke would force himself into a desperate situation. What should I answer at this time? To be honest, Yang Ming was a person with a low IQ when it came to relationships. Otherwise, he and Zhao Ying wouldn't end up in this situation. Therefore, Jing Xiaolu's question made Yang Ming a little embarrassed. Thinking about it, it seemed that he was too lecherous. He really didn't want anything to happen between him and Jing Xiaolu now. The trip to Yunnan was still unknown. Yang Ming didn't want to pit Jing Xiaolu. But if he said that he didn't want to, would Jing Xiaolu be angry? Would she think that he was not interested in her? This really gave Yang Ming a headache. Yang Ming was in a dilemma. He scolded himself in his heart. Why is my mouth so annoying? I said everything. Looking at Yang Ming's embarrassed look, Jing Xiaolu felt very funny. It turns out that Yang Ming also has a time when he is speechless by my questions. If I knew this would happen, I would have asked Yang Ming when he saw me in the bathroom that day. Do you want to continue watching? Do you want to continue watching? Or do you want to continue watching? Chapter 1651. Ugh, that. This room is really a bit hot. Why don't we open the window? Yang Ming didn't know how to answer, so he changed the topic directly. Yang Ming, who had always been known for his eloquence, also suffered today. It seems that I am not invincible. When I meet an opponent like Jing Xiaolu, I am really powerless. Thinking about my previous opponents. Chen Mengyan was a good student. When I skipped class, I had a lot of excuses. Chen Mengyan was naturally not my opponent. But for Jing Xiaolu, this chick who used to cheat people for fun, I really feel that I am a match for her. Yang Ming wasn't going to continue to beat around the bush with Jing Xiaolu. If this continued, he would probably be caught. Yang Ming stood up and opened the window. A gust of cold wind blew in, making Yang Ming shiver from head to toe. Some kind of wretched thoughts were also frozen to the point of disappearing. The air here is good. It's better than in the city. Yang Ming took a deep breath and said, "What are you doing?" "I just took off my coat, and you opened the window. Do you want to freeze me to death?" Jing Xiaolu was also shivering because of the sudden chill. The impure thoughts before also disappeared like Yang Ming. She was a little annoyed with Yang Ming's insensitivity, but she was also a little glad that Yang Ming was not the kind of person who liked to take advantage of others. But she always felt a sense of emptiness in her heart. Ugh. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed and closed the window again. Okay, what about this time? It's okay. I just said it casually. I'm not too cold. Jing Xiaolu felt that she was too willful just now. She didn't want Yang Ming to hate her, so she quickly changed her words. Yang Ming shrugged a little speechlessly. I don't know how Bai Hai and the others are. Do you want me to make a call and ask? N. Jing Xiaolu nodded with a complicated expression. Are opportunities always fleeting? Yang Ming looked at the time. It was almost 20 minutes. Why hasn't Bai Hai made a move yet? He said that he would come to the room to find me after he was done. Why hasn't he come after so long? Yang Ming looked at the hotel phone's dial code on the bedside table and dialed the phone in Bai Hai's room. Do. After the phone was connected, the tone sounded a lot, but no one answered the phone. No one answered? Jing Xiaolu asked curiously, did you dial the wrong number? The phone receiver in this hotel was louder, so Jing Xiaolu could hear the tone on the phone. Can't. I just followed the dialing method described here. Yang Ming pointed to the dialing code instruction next to the phone. As they were talking, the phone was finally connected. Before Yang Ming could speak, Bai Hai's roaring voice came, Damn, I said that I don't want a prostitute. I brought my wife here. After Bai Hai said this, Gu Xiniao's moaning voice came from the other side of the phone. It seemed that she deliberately catered to Bai Hai's words as if she was showing off on the other side of the phone. Her voice was frighteningly loud. Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded by this sudden change. What is this Bai Hai doing? That. Yang Ming wanted to speak, but the phone had been hung up. It was hung up. Yang Ming turned to look at Jing Xiaolu helplessly, but he found that Jing Xiaolu was looking at him with a red face. Yang Ming suddenly realized that Jing Xiaolu also heard the voice on the phone receiver. N. Jing Xiaolu nodded shyly. What is this Bai Hai doing? Yang Ming was so angry that he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The ambiguous atmosphere between him and Jing Xiaolu had just eased a little, and now it was messed up by him. So, he said angrily, isn't Gu Xiniao on her period? What does this mean? How would I know? Jing Xiaolu smiled bitterly with a red face. Maybe it's over? Yang Ming just complained casually. He didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to actually answer him. This topic suddenly made Yang Ming a little embarrassed. See if I don't scold this little bastard. Yang Ming was so angry that he dialed the phone again. This time, the other side picked up quickly, but Yang Ming didn't wait for Bai Hai to speak. He shouted directly at the other side, Bai Hai, what the fuck are you doing? Brother Yang? When Bai Hai heard Yang Ming's voice, he was suddenly shocked. He couldn't speak properly and began to stutter, what am I doing? I am doing with Gu Xiniao, cough cough. Yang Ming almost laughed to death after hearing it. This Bai Hai is really outrageous. He actually answered me like this. Yang Ming's previous anger was also reduced by Bai Hai's answer. I didn't ask who you are doing with. I just called. What happened to you? Jing Xiaolu also heard Bai Hai's answer. She almost laughed on the spot, but she didn't dare to laugh out loud. She could only cover her mouth and hold back her laughter. Her whole body was uncomfortable. Bai Hai's answer was a bit obscene. Jing Xiaolu was a girl, so it was not suitable for her to laugh unscrupulously. Brother Yang, it was you who called just now. This. When Bai Hai heard Yang Ming say that the previous call was made by Yang Ming, he was suddenly scared into a cold sweat. Brother Yang, I didn't know that the call was made by you. I thought it was. Speaking of this, Bai Hai stopped. He didn't dare to continue. What did you think it was? Why don't you say it? Hurry up and explain it clearly. Yang Ming snorted and asked. That. Bai Hai said with some embarrassment, a woman called before and asked me if I should call her miss. I said I didn't want to. In the end, She called again after a while and asked me if I should call her miss. Then, when I called, you thought that I was the one who asked you to call her miss? Yang Ming listened to Bai Hai's words and was a little dumbfounded. However, he also understood Bai Hai's approach. After the college entrance examination, when the whole class went to the resort, didn't they also receive such a call? In the end, he was anxious. After shouting into the phone, he found out that it was Chen Mengyan who called. At that time, he was sweating in his heart. Therefore, it was reasonable for Bai Hai to make such a mistake in a hurry. Yang Ming didn't intend to blame him. His previous anger had mostly dissipated. He. Bai Hai laughed twice, indicating that he acquiesced to what Yang Ming said. However, isn't Gu Xinyao on her period? You just... Yang Ming asked the doubts in his heart. It just ended, he. Bai Hai said with some embarrassment, the voice before made me a little lustful, and Gu Xinyao was afraid that I would secretly make a mistake, so the two of us, then, are you done? Yang Ming suddenly sweated when he heard Bai Hai's explanation. He didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to guess it right. This. Bai Hai hesitated. Brother Yang, do you want us to end it, or not? Yang Ming almost threw the phone receiver directly to the ground. Why is Bai Hai doing this? Jing Xiaolu just asked herself, then, do you want me to take it all off? Or just take off the coat? This Bai Hai actually. Jing Xiaolu naturally heard Bai Hai's words clearly. While she was a little shy, she couldn't help but laugh. What do you mean by I want? Yang Ming said with annoyance, whether you end it or not, can I control it? Ugh, that will take a while. Bai Hai said carefully, okay, you continue. We'll talk about it when you're done. Yang Ming finished and hung up the phone helplessly. He turned to Jing Xiaolu and said, this guy is too fucked up. He. Jing Xiaolu finally couldn't help but laugh. This time, I have something to say to Sister Xinyao. Ring. The phone on the bedside table suddenly rang. Is it Bai Hai calling back? Yang Ming glanced at the phone in confusion and said to himself. Chapter 1652. Yang Ming picked up the phone. Hello? Sir, would you like to have a massage? Our service is very good. It's only 200 yuan for the whole night. A coquettish female voice came from the phone, speaking to Yang Ming in a seductive voice. Could this be the phone call that Bai Hai was talking about? Yang Ming couldn't help but feel hot all over. This female voice is really bewitching. I guess that a man with a little weak will be tricked by her. No wonder Bai Hai would be so lustful. Even someone like Yang Ming with strong will couldn't help but be shaken. However, this voice is really nice. It made Yang Ming feel a little itchy. He secretly glanced at Jing Xiaolu and thought, it seems that Jing Xiaolu didn't hear what was said on the phone this time, right? If she heard it, the atmosphere between the two would be even more ambiguous. Of course, Yang Ming wouldn't be stupid enough to ask for a massage service, because Yang Ming knew very well that the person who made the call and the person who came to the door were two different people. These hotels generally hired a few girls with particularly sweet voices to make the call. However, after the person on the phone said a sentence, she didn't say anything else. Yang Ming wanted to refuse, but the phone was snatched by Jing Xiaolu. She said to the person on the phone, I don't want you. I graduated from the massage major. After that, Jing Xiaolu hung up the phone. Ugh. Yang Ming was a little stunned by Jing Xiaolu's action. Although Jing Xiaolu was very fierce, Yang Ming also knew that, but that was in the past. Since she worked in Mingyang Entertainment, Jing Xiaolu had a very gentle image of a lady. At this time, her sudden outburst made Yang Ming somewhat puzzled. Yang Ming wanted to ask something, but he heard Jing Xiaolu speak first. Yang Ming, what do you mean? It could be seen that Jing Xiaolu was really angry this time. Otherwise, except for the first time when they met in the cafeteria, Jing Xiaolu had never spoken loudly to Yang Ming. Even if she had a little temper, she would only complain a little. she would never shout so loudly. What do I mean? Yang Ming was very inexplicable by Jing Xiaolu's sudden lioness roar. Do you think that I'm not even as good as those ladies who do massage services? Jing Xiaolu saw that Yang Ming didn't admit it. She stuck out her chest and glared at Yang Ming. What is this? When did I say that? Yang Ming was even more stunned this time. You still don't admit it. Jing Xiaolu snorted. Then why didn't you just hang up when you picked up the phone? Why are you looking at me with shifty eyes? Tell me, are you tempted and want to call for that massage service? Yang Ming was put under a big hat by Jing Xiaolu. He suddenly didn't know what to say. What do you want to say? You want to explain? Explaining is covering up. Jing Xiaolu's words made Yang Ming directly choke back the words that he wanted to explain. Yang Ming didn't know what to say. According to Jing Xiaolu's meaning, whatever I say is covering up. Why am I so wronged? However, Jing Xiaolu became more and more agitated. Yang Ming, I know that you have always looked down on me. You think that I used to be a delinquent girl. I like you and chase you, but you still ignore me. I admit that I can't compare to Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jejia, but you can't ignore me like this. Am I so uninteresting to you? You still want to find a massage woman? After Yang Ming listened to Jing Xiaolu's complaints, he really had a feeling of being dumbfounded. However, Yang Ming also understood the inferiority in Jing Xiaolu's heart. Although Jing Xiaolu was now a major shareholder of two companies and the chairman of one of them, all of this couldn't hide Jing Xiaolu's sad past. Even if Jing Xiaolu didn't do anything to sell her body and soul, cheating was always dishonorable. Compared with Chen Mengyan, a good girl who excelled in her studies, Jing Xiaolu inevitably had this kind of inferiority feeling. I took the initiative to give myself to you, but you actually want to find someone else. Yang Ming, tell me. Are you looking down on me? As Jing Xiaolu said this, her voice had become a little choked. Xiaolu, what are you talking about? When did I say that I was going to find a massage woman? Although Yang Ming understood Jing Xiaolu's inferiority from the side, he was also very puzzled. Why was Jing Xiaolu so sure that he had to find a massage woman? Even if she used to be a delinquent girl and was not mainstream, now that she was the chairman of a company, could he still think that the massage woman was better than her? If you didn't find a massage woman, why didn't you immediately refuse or hang up after receiving her call? Why did you still look at me with the phone? Jing Xiaolu asked. You mean this? Yang Ming suddenly smiled bitterly after listening. Xiaolu, you misunderstood. I didn't hang up immediately because I remembered what happened to Bai Hai. I was afraid that you would hear it because I was afraid that I would be as horny as Bai Hai, and the atmosphere between us would be even more. Really? Jing Xiaolu's eyes lit up after listening to Yang Ming's explanation, but she asked suspiciously. Of course, it's true. Yang Ming said, you think too much of me. How can I find a massage woman? Moreover, I didn't mean to look down on you at all. It's nothing, then don't take it to heart. Jing Xiaolu was a little embarrassed, but she was unwilling to mention the topic of looking down that Yang Ming said. Xiaolu, do you think that your past experience will be looked down upon by me or others? Yang Ming did not avoid this topic but continued to ask. He felt that it was necessary to untie Jing Xiaolu's knot. Otherwise, this would always be a permanent pain in Jing Xiaolu's heart. Maybe it would bring fatal damage at any time. Yang Ming, don't talk about it. Let's just say that I just talked nonsense. I don't want to talk about the past. Jing Xiaolu shook her head. Xiaolu, in fact, you see that I seem to be very cool every day now. I have a lot of companies under me. It seems that I have a lot of connections in Songjiang. In fact, I also have a depraved past. Yang Ming sighed. You used to be a little delinquent girl, and I was a little punk. We are at most the same. How can I look down on you? Jing Xiaolu also knew a little about Yang Ming's past. When she heard Yang Ming say this, she thought about it carefully. What Yang Ming said was really reasonable. She used to always look at Yang Ming's women. She felt that her past experience was very disgraceful, but she didn't think of Yang Ming. If you want to talk about it, I have been to the detention center. Isn't that worse than you? Yang Ming said, I also need Jiyun to be affectionate and righteous. That was why I was spared from prison. You used to be a delinquent girl who advocated fighting and violence. In fact, am I not the same? So, you and I are still the best match? Jing Xiaolu used to be entangled with the women around Yang Ming, so she always had a knot in her heart about her experience. However, after listening to Yang Ming's words, she suddenly felt enlightened. Her whole person was relaxed. Yes, Yang Ming used to be a little punk. What else do I have to worry about? Yang Ming is also very familiar with my previous life. I am afraid that Yang Ming is no stranger to a delinquent girl like me who cheats people for their money. I'm afraid so, right? Yang Ming listened to Jing Xiaolu's words and smiled bitterly. He didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to be so open-minded. She immediately agreed to it without any hesitation. Haha. Jing Xiaolu couldn't help but laugh. Then, do you think that Chen Mengyan and the others will look down on me in the future? We haven't done anything yet, but you are already thinking about the future? Yang Ming couldn't help but be stunned. Isn't this Jing Xiaolu thinking too far ahead? However, I'm afraid there won't be any progress with her. At least, it won't be before I go to Yunnan. However, Yang Ming couldn't bear to discourage Jing Xiaolu at this moment. He said, if she looks down on you, isn't it equivalent to looking down on me? Do you think she will? Then, she won't. Jing Xiaolu pondered. This is really the case. If Chen Mengyan looks down on me, isn't it equivalent to looking down on Yang Ming? So, she couldn't help but be happy again. Chapter 1653. Zhang Kaiyuan squatted by the wall of the villa downstairs. He was fine at first, but after a while, he began to shiver from the cold. Spring in the north was cold. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't eat much because he was depressed. After drinking a lot of wine, he immediately felt hungry and cold when the wind blew. Why isn't brother De here yet? Is he trying to fool me? Zhang Kaiyuan kept the phone on. He had not received a call after so long. Had brother De set off? He wanted to call brother De to ask, but Zhang Kaiyuan was afraid that brother De would say that he was annoying. So, Zhang Kaiyuan thought for a long time and put the phone in his pocket. He took out a cigarette and smoked. With Jing Xiaolu crying and making a fuss, the ambiguous and tense atmosphere in the room eased a lot. At least, it was not as awkward as before. Jing Xiaolu opened up her heart, and the barrier between the two of them disappeared. Yang Ming also understood the fragile side of Jing Xiaolu's heart. But to be honest, Yang Ming really did not feel anything about Jing Xiaolu's experience. Yang Ming, who had a similar experience, felt that it was quite rare for Jing Xiaolu to be able to keep her chastity as a delinquent girl after mingling in the underworld for so long. There were so many delinquent girls who threw themselves at him and the others around him. Yang Ming was well aware of the debauched lives of those delinquent girls. If it were not for Yang Ming thinking about Suya at that time and not paying attention to other women, he might have fooled around all day long. Are you happy now? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu, who was smiling through her tears. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you before. Jing Xiaolu remembered that she had wronged Yang Ming for wanting to find a masseuse and could not help but feel embarrassed. It's nothing. But you said that you graduated from a masseuse major? What do you mean? Yang Ming remembered what Jing Xiaolu said on the phone before. I just said it casually. Jing Xiaolu said in embarrassment, why? Do you really want to try? Then forget it. Yang Ming really wanted to say that he would try, but reason still prevailed over desire. And then I'll learn when I have time. I'll give you a massage in the future, said Jing Xiaolu. This. Yang Ming didn't know how to answer. After a moment of silence, he said, "Why don't we go out for a walk? I didn't eat much just now. Let's see if there are any snacks nearby. And then what about Sister Ximiao and the others? Aren't we waiting for them?" Jing Xiaolu was a little hungry after hearing what Yang Ming said. Jing Xiaolu didn't eat much before. They are still not done even after 2 hours. This Bai Hai is really ruthless. Yang Ming looked at the time and said helplessly, "Oh." Jing Xiaolu blushed, apparently thinking of something. Jing Xiaolu realized that she had become so pure now. She didn't feel anything when she often discussed similar dirty topics with Sister Ximiao. Why did she blush now? He left the room with Jing Xiaolu and took the elevator downstairs. Huh? What's that? Jing Xiaolu looked strangely at a flashing red dot under a wall not far from the villa. In the darkness, Jing Xiaolu couldn't see it clearly. It was dark. Yang Ming looked up and was a little surprised. The red dot that Jing Xiaolu mentioned was the light of a cigarette burning. The person smoking was actually Zhang Kaiyuan. What is this kid doing squatting here in the middle of the night? If it weren't for Yang Ming's special ability and seeing that Zhang Kaiyuan didn't take off his pants, he would have thought that Zhang Kaiyuan was squatting there to take a dump. "Oh, an uncultured idiot is taking a dump there," Yang Ming glanced and said to Jing Xiaolu. When he spoke, he deliberately raised his voice so that Zhang Kaiyuan could hear it clearly. "Ah. How can this be?" Jing Xiaolu heard Yang Ming's words and subconsciously covered her mouth with her hand. She also turned her head in another direction. "This is too uncivilized." "Yeah, do you want me to teach him a lesson?" Yang Ming asked with a smirk. Zhang Kaiyuan naturally heard Yang Ming's words and was furious. He thought to himself, "You're the one who's pooping. I'm just squatting here and smoking a cigarette." Ugh. Thinking of this, Zhang Kaiyuan sized up his appearance. "I really do look like someone who is squatting here and pooping. This appearance is too unique." Hearing that Yang Ming was going to teach him a lesson, Zhang Kaiyuan was furious. "You want to teach me a lesson? What are you if Wang Lin isn't by your side? You still dare to teach me a lesson?" However, for his future plan, Zhang Kaiyuan didn't want to have a conflict with Yang Ming so early to avoid affecting Brother Da's plan. Therefore, he could only endure Yang Ming's ridicule. "Forget it. It's so dirty." Jing Xiaolu shook her head after hearing Yang Ming's suggestion. "Then forget it. I'll ignore him." Yang Ming shrugged. Originally, Yang Ming didn't plan to find trouble with Zhang Kaiyuan. He just said a few words to scare him. This was because Yang Ming saw clearly that Zhang Kaiyuan was only squatting there and smoking, not taking a dump. If he was really taking a dump, Yang Ming wouldn't mind making him sit on his butt. Yang Ming didn't understand why Zhang Kaiyuan was squatting on the ground and smoking on such a cold day. Wasn't there something wrong with him? However, Yang Ming didn't want to care about that. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu no longer looked at Zhang Kaiyuan and walked away. Zhang Kaiyuan let out a sigh of relief. To be honest, he was quite afraid that Yang Ming would come. If Yang Ming saw him squatting here, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't be suspicious. If Brother Da was discovered by Yang Ming in advance, he wouldn't be able to achieve his goal. Seeing Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu leave, Zhang Kaiyuan let out a sigh of relief and secretly rejoiced. "It seems that even God is helping me." Originally, Zhang Kaiyuan thought that Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu wouldn't come out after such a long time after returning to their room. He was thinking about how to trick Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu to come out after Brother Da came. Now, it wasn't necessary. However, he didn't know when Brother Da would come. It was best to catch up with them before they returned to the villa. Otherwise, it would be useless. However, Zhang Kaiyuan wasn't in a hurry to follow Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu. As long as they didn't stay in the villa, they would at most stroll around the streets around the resort. They couldn't go too far. There was a small town near the Immortal Resort. The entire town was about the size of a village. It was easy to find them. He was just a little anxious about where Brother De was. After Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu walked away, Zhang Kaiyuan couldn't help but finally dial Brother De's phone number. Hello? Zhang Xiaonao? Brother De answered the phone quickly this time. Why? Are you in a hurry? I'm not in a hurry. It's okay, Brother De. I'm afraid that the kid won't come out after returning to his room in the villa. It will be difficult to deal with then. Zhang Kaiyuan quickly explained, now that this kid is strolling outside, I think it's easier to do it. Oh, I see. Hee, don't worry. We will be there soon. We are on the way. We have already arrived at Songyu town, said Brother De. Ah, we have already arrived at Songyu town? So fast? Zhang Kaiyuan was a little surprised by Brother De's speed. Songyu town was not far from Jiduan city. In other words, it was not far from the Immortal Resort. It was estimated that they would arrive in more than half an hour's drive. Of course, this was calculated according to the normal speed. There was a speed limit on the highway. Zhang Kaiyuan didn't know how Brother De could drive so fast. According to the top speed limit on the highway, it would take at least 4 hours to get here from his hometown unless he exceeded the speed limit. This was the conclusion he came to when he went home with his father last time. Could it be that Brother De was speeding? Is he not afraid of being fined? This Nissan van of mine is modified. It drives very fast, said Brother De. I promised you, so I naturally have to come faster. Thank you, Brother De. Zhang Kaiyuan was touched. This Brother De is really good at doing things. It seems that the 100,000 yuan during Chinese New Year was not lost in vain. Okay, you don't have to thank me. Let's talk when we meet later. Brother De just wanted Zhang Kaiyuan to remember this favor so that it would be easier to do things in the future. As for whether or not he exceeded the speed limit, it was not something Brother De was thinking about. Anyway, the license plate was fake. It didn't matter if it was recorded. Chapter 1654. Sure enough, Brother De came quickly. In less than half an hour, he called and told Zhang Kaiyuan that they had arrived at the entrance of the Immortal Resort. Zhang Kaiyuan was very excited after receiving the call. He rushed to the entrance of the resort. He had been squatting under the wall for a few hours. Zhang Kaiyuan felt that his butt was about to freeze off. If he wasn't afraid that he wouldn't see Yang Ming's whereabouts after returning to his room, Zhang Kaiyuan wouldn't be freezing here. Since Brother De had arrived, Zhang Kaiyuan quickly went to greet him. He wanted to return to his room quickly after he was done. Otherwise, others would be suspicious. At the entrance of the resort, Zhang Kaiyuan saw a white old-fashioned Nissan van. Zhang Kaiyuan doubted his eyes. How can this old car drive so fast? However, he remembered that Brother De had said that this car had been modified. It was probably the type that pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. When Zhang Kaiyuan approached, the door of the Nissan van opened. Brother De stuck his head out of the door and shouted to Zhang Kaiyuan, Zhang Xiaonao? Get in the car. After Zhang Kaiyuan called Brother De, he quickly got into the Nissan van. He was overjoyed when he saw that Brother De had brought a few underlings. Not only could these people deal with Yang Ming, but even Wang Lin was no match for them. Brother De, you came really fast. Zhang Kaiyuan flattered, your car is really awesome. Don't be fooled by its appearance. It runs really fast. Of course, I changed the engine of a sports car. Brother De nodded proudly, this car is specially used to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger. Last time on the highway, a sports car driver despised me. I overtook him with one step on the accelerator. He couldn't catch up with me. In the end, that idiot didn't see clearly when he overtook me and crashed into the curb. Luckily, his car was good. Otherwise, with that speed, he would have definitely died. Zhang Zhang Kaiyuan naturally knew that Brother De must be bragging. Even if his Nissan was modified, it was impossible to outrun a professional sports car. However, Zhang Kaiyuan didn't expose him. He just said with an envious expression, "Really? It's amazing. Brother De, I think your car is better than my dad's Mercedes-Benz." Haha. It's just a so-so. Brother De nodded in satisfaction. Right, where is the kid you mentioned? Tell me in detail, how are you going to teach him a lesson? Right, let's get down to business. Get down to business. Zhang Kaiyuan naturally wanted to get to the point quickly, but he was afraid that Brother De would be unhappy if he said this when they just met. So, he flattered Brother De for a while. However, since Brother De took the initiative to bring it up, shouldn't he go with the flow? You asked me to teach him a lesson. Will that kid suspect you afterward? Brother De asked, does your father know about this? Brother De was not afraid that the brat who was taught a lesson would investigate him. Instead, he was afraid that the brat would find out about Zhang Kaiyuan's matter and cause trouble for Zhang Laofu. His good intentions had turned into a bad thing. That brat, it won't happen. I won't show up. Zhang Kaiyuan said, my dad doesn't know about this, but we don't need to let him know. Brother De, you won't stop helping me because of this, right? How can that be? Brother De heard Zhang Kaiyuan say this and thought about it again. There were pros and cons to this matter. Although it was possible that Zhang Laofu would complain to him that he condoned Zhang Kaiyuan's fighting, from another perspective, if Zhang Laofu didn't know about it in the end, then this matter would become a common secret between him and Zhang Kaiyuan. At that time, Zhang Kaiyuan would obediently help him speak and do things in order to keep it a secret. In the future, with Zhang Kaiyuan in front of Zhang Laofu, the implementation of his plan would be much smoother. So, he said, I'm just asking casually. Since that's the case, then don't let your dad know about this. After all, it's not something to be proud of. Brother De, you are too particular. Zhang Kaiyuan originally thought that Brother De was going to back out and not help him anymore. When he heard Brother De's words, he was overjoyed. It was no wonder. Although the 100,000 yuan was lost to Brother De through Zhang Kaiyuan, Brother De was not stupid. He knew that if Zhang Laofu didn't incite him, how would Zhang Kaiyuan have the guts to lose 100,000 yuan? Now, he was helping Zhang Kaiyuan without letting Zhang Laofu know. Then, this 100,000 yuan favor was returned in vain. He would have to return it to Zhang Laofu again in the future. You have to be loyal when you are mingling in the outside world. If you don't, then what's the point of mingling in the outside world? Isn't that right? Brother De said heroically, okay, tell me what to do later. Okay. Zhang Kaiyuan nodded repeatedly, then told Brother De about his plan. After a while, when you see that kid, do this, and then the girl beside him. Zhang Kaiyuan started to talk non-stop about the vicious plan that he had planned beforehand. What? Brother De was a little surprised when he heard Zhang Kaiyuan's plan. This isn't good, right? You are breaking the law, right? If that girl calls the police, won't you have to go in? Hee, don't worry, Brother De. When the time comes, I will feed her some medicine and let her take the initiative to look for me. Then, everything will be fine. Then, I will record a video to threaten her. I don't think she will dare to call the police. Zhang Kaiyuan said indifferently. That's feasible. Brother De was not a good person to begin with. He had done things like murder and arson before, let alone this. He was just a little worried about Zhang Kaiyuan's future, so he reminded him. After all, if Zhang Kaiyuan really got into trouble because of this, then his plan to get Zhang Laofu to invest in the company would definitely be ruined. At that time, the losses would outweigh the gains. However, when he heard that Zhang Kaiyuan's plan was so thorough, it was fine. No problem, Brother De. That girl is also not a good person. When the video is in our hands, if she dares to call the police, I will definitely ruin her reputation and finish her. Zhang Kaiyuan said. Okay, but are you sure that the rich second generation will not call the police? Brother Da nodded and asked again. It could be seen that Brother Da was not a reckless person. He had to consider thoroughly before taking action. He was the one who took the initiative to give up the woman to survive. How can he still have the face to call the police? Besides, what's the use of calling the police if the person involved doesn't admit it? Zhang Kaiyuan said matter-of-factly, besides, it's just a woman. I don't believe that he will make enemies for a woman. He is not a fool. This is true. Since he gave up the woman, such a cowardly person will not make enemies with others. Brother Da nodded in agreement. Okay, let's do as you say. In fact, there was still a little risk in this matter. However, without risk, how could it be exchanged for a rich reward? When Zhang Kaiyuan proposed this plan, Brother Da couldn't be more tempted. Zhang Kaiyuan had committed such a crime. It was equivalent to being in the same boat as him. He had evidence of Zhang Kaiyuan's crime in his hands. In the future, Zhang Kaiyuan would have no choice but to listen to him obediently and do things for him. In particular, Zhang Kaiyuan's mention of the video reminded Brother Da. When the time came, Brother Da would back up a copy of the video. That was equivalent to grasping Zhang Kaiyuan's lifeline. Ma Laosi, you guys will do this in a while. Can you do it? Brother Da instructed Ma Laosi, who was driving. Don't worry, Brother Da. It's a piece of cake. Ma Laosi agreed easily. He was familiar with this kind of thing. He had done it many times in his hometown, so Ma Laosi didn't care at all. The bad things he had done over the years were enough for him to die a few times. This kind of thing was no longer a big deal in his eyes. Zhang Xiaonao, where is the kid you mentioned? Asked Brother Da. He should be near the resort. I saw that kid take that girl out just now. Let's drive around the resort. Maybe we can see them. Said Zhang Kaiyuan. Let's go, Ma Laosi. Drive. Brother Da said to Ma Laosi. Okay. Ma Laosi started the car and began to drive slowly along the street at the entrance of the resort. I haven't been here for a long time. I remember that the last time I came here was a year ago. However, at that time, I was in the limelight. Even the boss of Jiduan City had to bow when he saw me. But now, Brother Da silently recalled his past in his heart. Chapter 1655. The scenes of the past appeared in front of Brother Da like a movie. The past humiliation, the past grudges, and the people who hurt and humiliated him made Brother Da clench his fist again. Am I strong enough? Brother Da had thought about this question more than once. He had more than 100 brothers under him now, and all of them were good fighters. What was he lacking? What they lacked was the courage to fight with their backs against the wall to determine who was superior. The more he walked on this land, the stronger Brother Da's hatred became. He even had an impulse to go back and take revenge immediately, but his rationality made him calm down. This time, he was here to teach people a lesson for Zhang Xiaonao, not for revenge. Brother Da convinced himself in his heart. Do you see it? Where is it? Brother Da put down his previous thoughts and said to Zhang Kaiyuan, who was looking around. I'm looking. There are so many snacks on the roadside. Zhang Kaiyuan originally thought that it should be easy to find in such a big place nearby. However, when he went out, he found that the snacks in the vicinity were lined up everywhere. This is a scenic spot. The villagers nearby are counting on this to make money. Ma Laosi said, but we have a car. It doesn't matter if we go around 2 more times. Ma Laosi could see that the boss really wanted to help this time, and not just deal with it, so he paid attention. Thank you, Brother Laosi. Zhang Kaiyuan said, somewhat flattered. You don't have to thank him. Keep an eye on the outside. Don't let that kid run back. We came here for nothing and didn't help. Brother Da reminded. Don't worry, Brother Da. My eyesight is comparable to a telescope. It's quite amazing. Zhang Kaiyuan bragged. However, just as he was bragging halfway, Zhang Kaiyuan shouted, "In front, just in front." "I see it. They are in front." Zhang Kaiyuan pointed to a sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop not far away as he said, "It's the one in front. Old Man Wang's sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop." "Damn." Brother De widened his eyes in surprise when he heard it. "I say, Zhang Xiaonao, you don't really have any special abilities, right? You can see clearly from so far away. I can't even tell whether the person over there is a man or a woman. How can you recognize them?" "Ugh. Brother De, I saw the car parked at the door." Zhang Kaiyuan said awkwardly. The blue BMW X5 at the door was driven by the kid and the chick. "I saw it before." Brother De was a little speechless. He patted Zhang Kaiyuan's shoulder. "You scared me to death. I thought you had some special ability." Brother De was pleasantly surprised for nothing. Originally, he thought that if this Zhang Xiaonao really had a special ability, then wouldn't he have a higher chance of revenge if he recruited him? However, after hearing the reason from Zhang Kaiyuan, Brother De reluctantly accepted the reality. It turned out that there were not so many special abilities in this world. Even if there were, he would not encounter it. It was too slim. "I was joking," Zhang Kaiyuan said with some embarrassment. "This kid drives a BMW? He's pretty rich." Brother De didn't mind. He instructed Ma Laosi to drive the car near the entrance of Old Man Wang's sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop. Then, he said to Zhang Kaiyuan, "Zhang Xiaonao, see if they are here." This Old Man Wang's sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop was a food stall. There was no door in summer, but there was a glass door in winter. The situation inside could be clearly seen from the outside. After Zhang Kaiyuan heard this, he quickly fixed his eyes on Old Man Wang's sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop and looked carefully. Sure enough, he found the figures of Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu originally planned to go out for a stroll. However, because Jing Xiaolu did not eat at night, she was a little weak. Yang Ming had undergone strict special training, so he was fine. Therefore, in order to accommodate Jing Xiaolu, the two returned to the resort restaurant's entrance and drove the car. This gave Zhang Kaiyuan an obvious target to find. They are there. The second table on the right. The kid in blue sportswear and the chick in black windbreaker. Zhang Kaiyuan pointed in the direction of Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu and said to Brother De, "Oh. This girl looks so pure and pretty, no wonder you spent so much effort to get her. It's worth it." Brother De couldn't help but nod when he saw Jing Xiaolu. Because Yang Ming's back was facing him, Brother De couldn't see what Yang Ming looked like. However, Brother De was not interested in men. What Yang Ming looked like had nothing to do with him. Hee. Zhang Kaiyuan thought that he would be able to enjoy Jing Xiaolu's body soon. He couldn't help but laugh, but all of this is thanks to Brother De. "Don't worry. Leave it to me." Brother De patted his chest and said, "Ma Laosi, you take people down. You know what to do, right? Just do as we agreed before. As for how to find fault, you can find a reason yourself. You are better at this than me." Brother De, "No problem. Just watch." Ma Laosi stepped on the accelerator and turned the steering wheel in a big circle. He stopped directly in front of Yang Ming's BMW. After parking the car, Ma Laosi got out of the car with his 3 underlings and walked into Old Man Wang's sheet and style mutton and steamed bun shop. The 4 of them looked like ruffians and walked like hooligans. So when they entered the shop owner saw the 4 of them and knew that 4 troublesome masters had come. He didn't dare to offend them and quickly ran over to greet them. "Little brothers, what do you want to eat?" Scram to the side. Ma Laosi wasn't here to eat. He was here to find trouble with Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu. So, he didn't even look at the shop owner and directly pulled him to the side. The shop owner staggered, but he didn't dare to say anything. An honest businessman like him wouldn't dare to offend this kind of street gangster. The shop owner knew very well what the consequences would be if he offended this kind of person. Not to mention that they would come to make trouble and smash his shop every 2 to 3 days. When that time came, his business wouldn't be stable anymore. Little brothers, is there anything wrong with our hospitality? Please don't be offended, don't be offended. The shop owner thought that these people were here to find trouble because of the previous service, so he quickly continued. Get lost, old thing. It's none of your business. Ma Laosi waved his hand. Stay aside. We are here to find someone. Oh. When the shop owner heard that they weren't here to find trouble but to find someone, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Then, little brothers, please continue with your business. Just tell me what you want to eat. The shop owner still wanted to say something, but when he saw Ma Laosi's impatient face, he immediately shut his mouth and stepped aside. After these 4 people entered the door, Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu noticed them, but they didn't care much. They thought that they were local punks who came to make trouble. Yang Ming didn't intend to meddle in this matter. Who owns that broken car outside the door? Stand up for me. Ma Laosi pointed to the entrance of the restaurant and shouted. Broken car outside the door? As soon as Ma Laosi shouted, the people in the shop raised their heads and looked at the door. They saw 2 cars parked at the door. One was a new blue BMW, and the other was a white Nissan van that couldn't be more broken. Most of the people who came here to eat didn't drive. They were all nearby villagers, so they just looked up curiously at the car at the door and lowered their heads again. As for the so-called broken car that Ma Laosi mentioned, they naturally thought that it was the broken white Nissan van at the door. Motherfucker, I'm asking you. Who owns the broken car at the door? Can't you hear me? Are you deaf? Ma Laosi was anxious when he saw that no one answered. When he was anxious, he stuttered a little. His childhood problem came out again. Chapter 1656. He came here to look for trouble. He originally thought that Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu would respond as soon as he spoke. However, when he saw that the 2 of them were still sitting there without speaking, a surge of anger surged in his heart. Am I being ignored just like that? Aren't they looking down on me too much? It seems that I have to be more ruthless. So, Ma Laosi went straight to Yang Ming's table and slammed the table. The dishes on the table trembled and almost fell to the ground. Look at the 2 of you, you don't look like some kind of fucking good people. Tell me, the broken fucking car at the door, is it yours? Jing Xiaolu was about to speak, but she was stopped by Yang Ming's eyes. These people came really strangely. As soon as they entered the door, they clamored about who the car at the door belonged to. Then, when they saw that no one answered, they went straight to their table. This made Yang Ming suspicious. The keen insight of an assassin was not a joke. If Yang Ming guessed correctly, these people were coming for him. You are talking to me? Yang Ming didn't know where these people came from, so he decided to tease them and find out more about them. He imitated Ma Laosi's stuttering and replied, the broken fucking car at the door, no, is mine. You fucking dare to imitate me? Ma Laosi glared at Yang Ming, pointed at him, and was about to hit him. I didn't imitate you, I was abducted. Yang Ming shrugged innocently. The broken fucking car at the door is really not mine. No, if it's not yours, then whose is it? Ma Laosi thought, you were abducted by me. That's more like it. If you dare to deliberately imitate me, I will kill you. However, Ma Laosi didn't think about it. Yang Ming was already stuttering when he was abducted before. Why wasn't he abducted after that? How did he become fluent again all of a sudden? How do I know which bastard it is? Yang Ming shook his head. When we came to eat, that broken Nissan van was not parked there yet. I didn't fucking ask you who the broken broken Nissan van belongs to? I fucking ask you, that BMW. Ma Laosi was a little anxious. I really don't know who that broken car belongs to. Yang Ming continued to shake his head. I didn't ask you about that broken car. Why the fuck do you not understand human language? Ma Laosi was angry. That was for him. However, most of the customers eating in the restaurant understood Yang Ming's words at this time. They couldn't help but cover their mouths and laugh, but they didn't dare to laugh loudly because of the fierce look of Ma Laosi and the others. Even the shop owner couldn't help but laugh. He felt that he had vented his anger from before. He's calling you a bastard. One of Ma Laosi's followers hurriedly stepped forward and explained, this kid is clever. He understood and pretended not to understand. What? You're calling me a fucking bastard? Ma Laosi thought about it. This kid kept saying that the broken car was a broken car. So that's what he meant. He's calling me a bastard in a roundabout way. How can I accept this? How can I spare him? Even without Brother Da's previous instructions, I have to kill this kid to vent my anger. I didn't call you a fucking bastard. Yang Ming said innocently, I really didn't. You didn't call me, then who are you calling? Ma Laosi was a little confused when he saw that Yang Ming was telling the truth. Fourth brother, don't talk nonsense with this little brat. This little brat has a trap in his words. He said that he didn't call your mother. He called you. Ma Laosi's follower was a shrewd person. He immediately saw through the trap in Yang Ming's words. Okay. You really are calling me. Ma Laosi said as he grabbed Yang Ming's collar. You stand up for me. Yang Ming seemed to be inadvertently dodging Ma Laosi's hand. Ma Laosi grabbed nothing, but because he used too much force, his body did not have a foothold, and he almost fell to the ground. However, he slapped his hand into the bowl of mutton steamed buns in front of Yang Ming. It was so hot that he quickly pulled it out and kept shaking it. This big brother, what do you want to do? What did you ask me? I have already answered. What else do you want to do? Yang Ming put on an innocent look, but he was overjoyed in his heart. With your skills, you still dare to shake in front of me? Previously, Ma Laosi's stumble seemed to be due to his own carelessness. In fact, that was not the case. Yang Ming had secretly used his hand to gently touch the acupoints on Ma Laosi's leg. As a result, Ma Laosi's leg went numb, causing him to lose his balance. Of course, Ma Laosi naturally did not understand that Yang Ming had such an ability. He just thought that all this was caused by his bad luck. Yang Ming's question reminded Ma Laosi. Yes, I am here to find trouble. There must be a reason, right? So, he said, you motherfucker, do you know, where did you go wrong? I don't know. Yang Ming shook his head. You stopped the car. It's too much of a hindrance. I have no place to stop. Ma Laosi wanted to finish this reason in one breath, but the more anxious he was, the more he stuttered. This big brother, why don't you let your underlings say it for you? Yang Ming looked at Ma Laosi's strenuous appearance, so he said to him, I am also anxious when I hear you say this. You also have a hard time saying it, right? When Ma Laosi heard Yang Ming's words, he felt that it was really the case, so he pointed to one of his underlings and said, Qiangzi, you say it. Ma Laosi's underlings were actually anxious. At this time, with Ma Laosi's instructions, Qiangzi immediately jumped out and pointed at Yang Ming. I am most annoyed by rich people like you. You don't know what to do when you drive a luxury car. Your parking is so troublesome. Do you want to show that you are awesome? Motherfucker, let me tell you. Our boss has no place to park. Do you know that you are blocking our boss's path? Oh. Yang Ming nodded. Qiangzi thought that after his words, this kid would definitely be scared and beg for mercy, but he didn't expect this kid to say, oh, so calmly. He didn't know if he was really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. Isn't he too calm? You tell me, how do you want to settle this? Xiangzi had no choice but to continue. Well, what do you think? Asked Yang Ming. Hee, you are sensible, kid. When Xiangzi saw Yang Ming ask this question, he was relieved in his heart. It seems that this kid has encountered too many violent people, so he has become calm and directly entered the negotiation stage. It's okay. Yang Ming nodded. When Xiangzi saw that Yang Ming was so obedient, he was suddenly happy. Now, I will give you two options. One is to give the car to our boss, and then break your hands and legs. Oh, what about the other one? After Yang Ming heard it, he was not nervous and continued to ask. When Xiangzi saw Yang Ming's appearance, he felt that this kid had encountered too many of these kinds of things. He knew that the first condition was often difficult to achieve, but there must be a second compromise condition. It was just that something had to be sacrificed. However, Yang Ming's calmness made Xiangzi a little uncomfortable, so he decided to play with Yang Ming. The other one is that we help you break your hands and legs, and then drive your car away. Oh, I got it. Yang Ming nodded after listening. Xiangzi was really stunned this time. Isn't Yang Ming too calm to the point of being scary? Why is he still nodding to such a scary suggestion? In the broken Nissan van outside the door, Brother Da's breathing became rapid. His fists that had just loosened were clenched again. The kid you are talking about is him? Brother Da pointed at Yang Ming from the window and asked Zhang Kaiyuan. It's him. What's wrong, Brother Da? Is there something wrong? Zhang Kaiyuan also felt Brother Da's abnormality and asked carefully. Nothing, it's him, it's actually him. Brother Da's expression became distorted. Yang Ming, I didn't expect to actually meet you here. Brother Da, do you know him? Zhang Kaiyuan did not expect Brother Da to actually call out Yang Ming's name. He was suddenly a little shocked. Chapter 1657. Previously, Zhang Kaiyuan did not say Yang Ming's name because he felt that Brother Da would not know who he was even if he said it. So, he used pronouns such as that kid instead. However, he did not expect Brother Da to accurately call out Yang Ming's name. Could it be that Brother Da knew Yang Ming before, or was he related to Yang Ming? Thinking of this, Zhang Kaiyuan was a little nervous. I looked for Brother Da to teach Yang Ming a lesson. However, Brother Da actually knew Yang Ming. Could he teach Yang Ming a lesson? Don't teach me a lesson instead. That would be a little fucked up. Therefore, after Zhang Kaiyuan asked Brother Da if he knew Yang Ming, he waited for Yang Ming's answer anxiously. I know him, of course I know him. Brother Da gritted his teeth and said bitterly, I will never forget him in my life. Brother Da, what do you mean by this? Zhang Kaiyuan heard that Brother Da's relationship with Yang Ming was not good. It seemed to be very bad. Brother Da seemed to hate Yang Ming very much. Only then did Zhang Kaiyuan breathe a sigh of relief and ask tentatively. When I was in the detention center, this kid helped one of my enemies to fight. He gave me a kick and crushed my nose. I will remember this kick. Brother Da said bitterly. This Brother Da was naturally Yu Xiangda, who was driven out of Songjiang City by Bao Sanli with the help of Ho Jinhan. Of course, Yu Xiangda did not know that Yang Ming was actually Bao Sanli's boss. He did not know that Bao Sanli was the one who drove him out of Songjiang City under Yang Ming's instructions. He had not returned to Songjiang City for a long time, so he naturally did not know the inside information of Songjiang City. His hatred for Yang Ming was only limited to the kick he got from Yang Ming in the detention center. Yu Xiangda didn't even know much about Yang Ming's family background. He had never seen Yang Ming again, so he naturally didn't think that Yang Ming had anything to do with the current Bao Sanli. The moment he saw Yang Ming, all of his old and new hatred surged into his heart. Yu Xiangda would never forget that humiliating kick. In any case, he was a boss-level figure, but he was actually kicked by a little brat to the point that his nose was caved in. Where was he supposed to put his face? How could he endure this? It couldn't be, right? Is this kid very good at fighting? Zhang Kaiyuan listened to Brother Da's words and looked at him in disbelief. Brother Da, you're not joking, right? Of course, I won't joke. How can I joke about such a humiliating thing? Brother Da looked at Yang Ming with a murderous gaze. But, this kid is a rich second generation. When I squeezed him in the parking lot before, he didn't dare to say anything and didn't dare to do anything. However, his subordinate had a bad temper and almost broke my neck bone. Zhang Kaiyuan was still very confused because Yang Ming didn't give him the impression of a powerful person. Instead, he was like a timid rich kid. Could it be that this kid changed his personality after leaving the detention center? He doesn't dare to do as he pleases? Brother Da frowned after listening to Zhang Kaiyuan's words. No, it shouldn't be. Brother Da looked at Yang Ming carefully again to make sure that he didn't recognize the wrong person. Moreover, Zhang Kaiyuan had also confirmed that this person was undoubtedly Yang Ming. Brother Da had no reason to doubt that he recognized the wrong person. How is it? Which one do you choose between these two paths? Chang Zi finally couldn't help but ask when he realized that Yang Ming was neither anxious nor slow. He didn't seem to be nervous at all. Oh. Yang Ming glanced at Chang Zi and said faintly, "The car is not mine. It's hers. I don't have the right to give it to your boss," said Yang Ming as he pointed at Jing Xiaolu. Then, he said, "As for breaking my hands and feet, I don't think you have the ability to do so." You. Chang Zi had done this kind of frightening thing more than once or twice. Every time, the person involved would be scared witless. If he gave such a scary choice, the person involved would cry and beg him to let him live. How could he be as calm as Yang Ming? Yang Ming's reaction was beyond Chang Zi's expectations. Chang Zi looked at Ma Laosi with some difficulty. "Brother Ma, what should I do? This kid is quite arrogant, right? Kid, look at your delicate skin. It should be because you are used to being pampered, used to it." Ma Laosi glanced at Yang Ming and said, "If you don't want to suffer the pain of having your hands and feet broken, then I will give you another choice." "What choice?" Yang Ming continued to ask with a smile. "The girl beside you is not bad. She happens to be the type our boss likes. How about this? You let us beat you up, and then let us take your girl away. Then, we will forget about this matter." Chang Zi saw that Ma Laosi was really struggling to speak, so he quickly spoke first. "I see." Yang Ming finally figured out what this group of people was doing here. It turned out that they were here for Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming wondered before. Isn't it just stopping the car? Is there a need to come in and shout so angrily? His car was parked there first, and it did not hinder him in any way. The so-called blocking of his car was simply nonsense. There was no basis at all. Yang Ming didn't believe that they saw that the BMW outside was more high-end and wanted to take advantage of it on the spur of the moment. After all, many people were eating in this shop. How could these guys be so sure that the BMW belonged to Jing Xiaolu and him? Could it be that they are all living gods? Therefore, Yang Ming had some doubts about these people directly finding Jing Xiaolu and himself. When he heard them say that they would give the car to them and then break his legs and hands, he felt that these people had ulterior motives. If they wanted to beat me, they could just do it directly. Why did they say so much nonsense? In the end, Chang Zi finally said the purpose of this group of people, which was Jing Xiaolu. Yang Ming had never thought that this matter was directed at Jing Xiaolu, but he felt that this matter was directed at him. But at this moment, he understood that it seemed that he was wrong. Yang Ming raised his head and glanced inside the Nissan van outside the shop. Yang Ming didn't think so much before, so he naturally didn't use his special ability to see the situation inside the car. Now that things had become a little strange, Yang Ming naturally wanted to find out. When Yang Ming's gaze penetrated the steel plate of the Nissan van and fell on the faces of the people in the car, Yang Ming's expression suddenly became a little strange. When he saw that one of the people in the car was Zhang Kaiyuan, Yang Ming had a sudden realization and expected feeling. This guy had always coveted Jing Xiaolu, and he had a grudge with him. It was not unusual for him to find a few people to beat him up and take Jing Xiaolu away. But when Yang Ming saw the other person in the car, he was stunned. This person was actually Yang Ming's acquaintance. To be precise, he was an old acquaintance because Yang Ming had known him for a long time. Although they had never met again, he had a deep impression of him. However, Bao Sanli seemed to have told him that this Yu Xiangde was dead. How did he appear here? Is he the person that Zhang Kaiyuan found? As he was thinking, Chang Zi spoke again, "Kid, go out with us." With that said, Chang Zi and another of Ma Laoxi's men pushed Yang Ming to the entrance of the steamed bun shop. There were many people in the steamed bun shop, so it was inconvenient to make a move. Chang Zi naturally wouldn't make a move in a crowded place, lest some people call the police. Yang Ming was puzzled when he saw Yu Xiangde, so he didn't mind when Chang Zi pushed him. He also wanted to go out and meet Yu Xiangde to see the relationship between this kid and Zhang Kaiyuan. Jing Xiaolu saw that Yang Ming followed Chang Zi and others out without resistance. Although she had some doubts in her heart, she knew that Yang Ming never did things that he wasn't sure of, so she followed behind Yang Ming with peace of mind. Ma Laoxi wanted to push her away, but Jing Xiaolu said, "I can walk by myself." Ma Laoxi thought that this was the woman that Zhang Xiaonao fancied. It was inconvenient for him to be rough, so he didn't do anything to Jing Xiaolu. He followed Jing Xiaolu out of the steamed bun shop. The customers and the shop owner of the steamed bun shop sighed. It seems that this kid is inevitable to be beaten up, but I don't know what kind of humiliation his beautiful girlfriend will suffer. What a pity. However, no one dared to speak up for these big hooligans like Ma Laoxi. They were afraid that they would be implicated. After all, these people were ordinary people. How could they be the opponents of those hooligans? Chapter 1658. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu followed Ma Laoxi out. Yang Ming was going to knock on the window of the Nissan van to let the two acquaintances inside come out and meet each other. But before Yang Ming could knock on the window, the door of the Nissan van opened, and a person jumped out. When Yu Xiangde saw Yang Ming coming out of the steamed bun shop, he couldn't hold it anymore. He wanted to teach Yang Ming a lesson. He wanted Yang Ming to pay the price. The price for giving him a kick in the past. For the hatred of Bao Sanli, Yu Xiangde could endure, but for the hatred of Yang Ming, this little brat, Yu Xiangde felt that he didn't need to endure at all. Otherwise, he would simply be a coward. With his current strength, he was afraid that he couldn't beat Bao Sanli, but for Yang Ming, such a weak individual character, what reason did he have to be afraid? It should be him who was afraid of him. Therefore, Bao Sanli could no longer control his emotions. He directly opened the door and jumped out of the car. "Brother Da, what are you doing?" Zhang Kaiyuan was shocked by Brother Da's action. He subconsciously lowered his head, afraid that Yang Ming outside would see it. However, after Brother Da got out of the car, he closed the door again. This made Zhang Kaiyuan breathe a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't expose himself, it didn't matter if Brother Da got out. Since Yang Ming and Brother Da had a grudge before, Yang Ming would not suspect him this time. When he forcefully pushed Jing Xiaolu down, Yang Ming would only blame it on Brother Da. Zhang Kaiyuan was wishful thinking, but he didn't expect Yang Ming to have a special ability. He already knew that he was in the car, so it was a waste of effort to hide. "Yang Ming, we haven't seen each other for a long time." Yu Xiangde got out of the car with a cold face and sneered at Yang Ming. That kick was very fierce. As Yu Xiangde said this, he subconsciously touched his nose as if the pain and humiliation of the past appeared in front of him again. His hatred for Yang Ming had deepened to another level. "Hee, I was wondering who it was. Isn't this Yu Xiangde?" Since Yu Xiangda got out of the car himself, Yang Ming didn't intend to reveal the fact that he already knew that Yu Xiangda was in the car before. He pretended to be surprised and looked at Yu Xiangda. After all, it would be troublesome if Yu Xiangda became suspicious, although Yang Ming wasn't afraid of trouble now. Hee, little brat, you still recognize your master Yu? Yu Xiangda was a little surprised when he saw that Yang Ming recognized him. He and Yang Ming only met once in the detention center. He could remember Yang Ming because the pain and humiliation that Yang Ming brought to him were unforgettable. However, it wasn't easy for Yang Ming to remember the person who was kicked by him. But Yu Xiangda didn't think too much about it. He just thought that Yang Ming had a good memory. This saved Yu Xiangda the trouble of explaining. Previously, Yu Xiangda deliberately emphasized the kick because he wanted to remind Yang Ming of his identity. He was afraid that Yang Ming didn't know who he was. I always remember the kind of person who forgets the pain after the scar is healed. I'm going to give him a more profound lesson next time. Yang Ming looked at Yu Xiangda with some contempt and said, "Fuck." Yu Xiangda spat a mouthful of phlegm on the ground. "Little brat, you are quite arrogant, huh? Today, your master Yu is here to settle the score with you. I'll let you know how wrong that kick of yours was." "Really?" Yang Ming smiled faintly. "It seems that you haven't learned your lesson. Bao Sanli drove you out of Songjiang City. Instead of being an honest person, you started to act arrogantly again? Stop your fucking nonsense." Although Yu Xiangda was surprised that Yang Ming knew that he was driven away by Bao Sanli, he didn't feel that it was particularly strange. This was not a secret. As long as one knew some people in society, they could understand the details. "Ma Laosi, you guys go and break this kid's legs and hands." Okay." Ma Laosi was stunned. Previously, he said that he would just beat up Yang Ming casually. The words of breaking his legs and hands were just to scare Yang Ming. He didn't expect Brother De to really order them to do so. However, after hearing the conversation between Brother De and Yang Ming, the two of them should have a lot of hatred before, so Ma Laosi quickly responded. He waved to Qiangzi and the others and said, "Do it." Ma Laosi raised his fist and smashed it at Yang Ming. Qiangzi also raised his leg and kicked at Yang Ming. Bang, 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 4 sounds. Before Yu Xiangda could see what happened, Ma Laosi and his 3 men were all lying on the ground, motionless. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. It was just 4 little punks. It was easy for Yang Ming to deal with them. If Yang Ming wanted to, he could kill them in an instant. They were not on the same level as Yang Ming. Yu Xiangda was dumbfounded. He was completely dumbfounded. In the blink of an eye, all 4 of his men were lying on the ground like corpses. I haven't seen what happened, and it's already over? Isn't Yang Ming's skill too terrifying? With this kind of skill, I still want to teach him a lesson. Am I not courting death? Yu Xiangda finally felt that something was wrong this time. No wonder Yang Ming always had a lazy look and didn't care about anything. It turned out that he was fearless. He wasn't afraid of anything at all. Yu Xiangda, I find that you have a bad memory. Yang Ming looked at Yu Xiangda with some regret. I can see that you are enduring hardships and recruiting a group of underlings to try to make a comeback. But I have to say that you don't know your own limits. There is a saying that it is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, but what if he can't take revenge in 10 years? 20 years, 30 years, or even 100 years, if he can't take revenge, will he still take revenge? When you see me, the first thing you should do is to run away quickly, instead of pretending that you are now very badass and can take revenge on me. That will only make you die faster. Yu Xiangda's face turned red and white because of Yang Ming's words. He was not reconciled. Yes, he was not reconciled. Obviously, I brought people to trouble Yang Ming, and I was about to get revenge. How did the whole situation suddenly reverse? Yang Ming became so powerful. He killed 4 of my underlings in an instant. Now it is Yang Ming who is threatening me? Is it really so difficult to take revenge for me? Yu Xiangde looked at Yang Ming with bloodshot eyes. He now didn't believe that he had failed. It was already so difficult to take revenge on Yang Ming. Is there any hope to find Bao Sanli? Yu Xiangde's breathing became more and more nervous. He refused to accept it. He wanted Yang Ming to die. Finally, the anger and hatred in Yu Xiangde's heart defeated his reason. Yu Xiangde instantly took out a pistol from his pocket and pointed it at Yang Ming. Yang Ming, you go to hell. This pistol was Yu Xiangde's trump card. Under normal circumstances, he would not take it out. Only at the most critical moment would he consider taking out this pistol. After all, guns were contraband items. Although Yu Xiangde was in the underworld, this kind of thing would obviously leave a handle for others. He didn't want to publicize it. He bought this from a Vietnamese guy and spent a lot of money. He usually showed it to his brothers and kept it with him. Fortunately, in the few conflicts with others, it was basically a one-sided situation. Yu Xiangde didn't need to take action. A few of Yu Xiangde's underlings beat the other party until they pissed their pants. There was no chance to use the gun. Yang Ming, you didn't expect it, right? Huh, you didn't expect me to have a gun, right? Yu Xiangde looked at Yang Ming, who was a little stunned, and suddenly became proud. This was the feeling he wanted. Seeing that Yang Ming finally didn't have the calm expression of everything under control, Yu Xiangde enjoyed it very much. Chapter 1659. Yang Ming, what's the use of you being able to fight? Can you beat a bullet? Or do you think that your skills are faster than a bullet? Yu Xiangde looked at Yang Ming mockingly. Ha 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 ha, Yang Ming, you didn't expect it even in your dreams, right? You didn't know that I could have a gun, right? I didn't intend to kill you, but you forced me to do so. You forced me to use a gun. You said that you didn't want to take the path to heaven, but instead came to hell. You are rushing to die. Wouldn't it be fine if you let my underlings beat you up and break your arms and legs? You would just become disabled. It would be fine after half a year or a year. But you didn't want to. You wanted to be a hero. Are you awesome? Are you good? Let's see what you can do this time. Zhang Kaiyuan, who was in the Nissan van, was terrified when he saw Yang Ming instantly take down Ma Laosi, Chang Zi, and the other two. He didn't expect Yang Ming to be so strong. He was afraid that Brother Da was not Yang Ming's opponent. He was afraid that after Yang Ming took down Brother Da, he would get in the van and find trouble with him. Even Brother Da was not Yang Ming's opponent. What qualifications did he have to fight with Yang Ming? Zhang Kaiyuan even regretted his impulsive call for Brother Da. Just as Zhang Kaiyuan was remorseful and regretful, he suddenly saw Brother Da take out a pistol and point it at Yang Ming's forehead. This is a real pistol. Although Zhang Kaiyuan had seen pistols on TV, it was his first time seeing one in real life. Brother Da actually has a pistol? Ha, Yang Ming, oh Yang Ming, your death date is here. This sudden turn of events made Zhang Kaiyuan so excited that he almost shouted. He danced in the van and accidentally touched his forehead. However, he didn't feel the pain anymore. This was because the situation in front of him made Zhang Kaiyuan extremely excited. This is too awesome. Zhang Kaiyuan waved his fist. It seems that I was right to call Brother Da. It would be best if Brother Da shot Yang Ming to death so that he would have one less love rival in the future. As for whether there would be any trouble after Brother Da killed Yang Ming, or whether he would be implicated, this was not what Zhang Kaiyuan was thinking about. Jing Xiaolu was a little nervous when she saw Ma Laosi and Chang Zi surrounding Yang Ming. However, when she saw Yang Ming instantly take down the four of them without any hesitation, her eyes were filled with little stars of worship while she was excited. Jing Xiaolu was a girl who worshipped violence. When she saw Yang Ming's heroic actions, she admired Yang Ming even more. She even had the impulse to hug Yang Ming and kiss him. However, Jing Xiaolu's excitement didn't last long. Yu Xiangde took out his gun and pointed it at Yang Ming. The change made the smile on Jing Xiaolu's face freeze instantly. This was a gun. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect Yu Xiangde to have such a thing. Seeing Yu Xiangde's crazy look, Jing Xiaolu was completely scared. He won't really shoot, right? Jing Xiaolu subconsciously had the impulse to rush up and grab the gun. At this moment, Jing Xiaolu even understood why Zhou Jiejia made such a stupid move. Don't I have such a thought now? However, although this thought was very strong, it was suppressed by Jing Xiaolu. She was a more rational person than Zhou Jiejia because she remembered what Zhou Jiejia said at the time. She said that even if she didn't block the gun for Yang Ming could still dodge it with his skills. If she blocked the gun, it would be more trouble for him. It was this sentence that made Jing Xiaolu's impulsive thoughts calm down again. When she tilted her head slightly and saw the stunned and strange expression on Yang Ming's face, Jing Xiaolu was more confident in her heart. With Jing Xiaolu's understanding of Yang Ming, if Yang Ming still had such an expression in this situation, it meant that Yang Ming was confident in solving this matter. Yang Ming was a calm person. Since Yang Ming's face didn't have a frightened expression, what was she worried about? Thinking of this, Jing Xiaolu was relieved. In fact, Jing Xiaolu really guessed it right. The reason why there was a stunned expression on Yang Ming's face was that Yang Ming was a little stunned that Yu Xiangde didn't beg for mercy at this moment. He actually wanted to stubbornly take out a gun to deal with him. Even if he wanted to die, he didn't want to die so badly, right? Originally, Yang Ming didn't intend to kill Yu Xiangde, so he didn't kill his 4 underlings. He just knocked them out. But this Yu Xiangde was stubborn and wanted to kill him with a gun. In Yang Ming's view, this was like a big joke. An amateur with a pistol pointed at the king of assassins. What would the end result be? He didn't even have to think about it to know the result. Never mind an amateur like Yu Xiangde, even an assassin in the same industry was basically courting death by pointing a gun at Yang Ming. What was so great about Yu Xiangde? This result was naturally very tragic. Just as Yu Xiangde was indescribably happy and enjoying the feeling of being high up in the air, another unforeseen event occurred. The pistol that was originally in Yu Xiangde's hand was grabbed by Yang Ming for some unknown reason. The situation immediately reversed. Yang Ming pointed the gun at Yu Xiangde's eyebrows. The smug smile still remained on Yu Xiangde's face, but it froze in an instant. It was fixed there. Yu Xiangde, you are stupid. Really stupid. There is a book called Very Pure and Very Ambiguous. I think you are very stupid and ignorant. Yang Ming looked at Yu Xiangde sarcastically. It seems that you still didn't listen to the previous words. Do you think you are very badass? You have a pistol in your hand, so what can you do to me? I have to say that you are really hopeless. Although Jing Xiaolu thought that Yang Ming had a foolproof plan, it would be a lie to say that Jing Xiaolu was not worried at all in this emergency situation. Just as Jing Xiaolu was perturbed, she heard Yang Ming preaching to Yu Xiangde again. She wondered why Yang Ming would do this. When she took a closer look, she found that Yu Xiangde's pistol was magically held in Yang Ming's hand. Jing Xiaolu didn't even see how Yang Ming did it. Just like when Ma Laosi and the other 3 people fell to the ground just now, Yang Ming's skill had reached an incredible level. Yu Xiangde was completely dumbfounded this time. Not only was he dumbfounded, but he was desperate. He was not reconciled before, but now, he had no more unwillingness. The gap in strength finally made Yu Xiangde recognize the reality. The gap between him and Yang Ming was not small. It was simply a world of difference. Yang Ming was right before. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, but if there was no way to take revenge in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or even 100 years, then it was better to give up early. Yang Ming, if you have the guts, then kill me. Do you dare? Yu Xiangde knew that he was completely defeated today, so he simply threw caution to the wind. He was sure that Yang Ming and he were not the same kind of people. Yang Ming did not dare to shoot. Yang Ming was a rich second generation with a bright future. If he shot him at this time, even if Yang Ming's family was capable, he would probably have to spend most of his life in prison. You don't have to provoke me. In fact, it's not difficult to kill you, said Yang Ming lightly. Zhang Kaiyuan did not expect that the situation would change completely again. The pistol in Yu Xiangda's hand was in Yang Ming's hand. He had not even been excited for 10 minutes, and now there was another tragedy. What kind of person is this Yang Ming? He is so skilled, and he can even snatch a gun so quickly. However, when Zhang Kaiyuan heard Yang Ming say that it was not difficult to kill Yu Xiangda, his mind became active again. Originally, he was completely desperate this time. He was prepared to kneel and beg Yang Ming for mercy if he was discovered by Yang Ming. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. He should escape first and think about it later. However, Yang Ming said that he would shoot Yu Xiangda. Zhang Kaiyuan thought about it again. Isn't this a good thing? If Yang Ming killed Zhang Kaiyuan, he would be charged with intentional homicide. No matter how capable he was, he would be sentenced to life imprisonment, right? In this way, wouldn't Jing Xiaolu become something in his pocket? Thinking of this, Zhang Kaiyuan began to pray in his heart. Yang Ming must shoot and kill Yu Xiangda. Then, he can go to prison in peace. Haha. It was undeniable that Zhang Kaiyuan was a cunning person. He sold Yu Xiangda out in the blink of an eye. Chapter 1660. You open it. You open fire now. Yu Xiangda naturally didn't believe Yang Ming's words. The calmer Yang Ming was, the more he thought that Yang Ming was rational and wouldn't dare to shoot him. So, he wanted to provoke Yang Ming. Either Yang Ming let him go, or he would shoot him. Anyway, he had no hope of revenge. There was no meaning in living. It was better to be killed by Yang Ming. Then, Yang Ming would be sentenced to life imprisonment or something. He would still benefit. Yang Ming, don't be impulsive. Jing Xiaolu was a little scared this time. She was afraid that Yang Ming would be impulsive and really shoot. Although this kind of hot-blooded feeling made Jing Xiaolu's body boil, Jing Xiaolu also knew that a movie was a movie, and reality was reality. Once Yang Ming fired the gun, what awaited Yang Ming would be a prison sentence. Don't listen to his nonsense. You must not shoot. Hee, Xiaolu, don't you think that this person deserves to die? Yang Ming looked at Yu Xiangda and asked Jing Xiaolu. He deserves to die. Naturally, someone will take care of him. But if you kill him, you will be breaking the law. Jing Xiaolu didn't want anything to happen to Yang Ming. Hee, since he deserves to die, then he can die. As Yang Ming spoke, he naturally pulled the trigger. Yu Xiangda opened his mouth without warning. A bloody hole appeared on his forehead, and he slowly fell to the ground. Yang Ming's angle of shooting was very artistic. It didn't make Yu Xiangda's forehead splash with blood or brain matter. It didn't make her feel disgusted at all. Yang Ming was afraid that Jing Xiaolu would be disgusted after seeing it, so he deliberately chose such an angle. For Yang Ming, as an assassin, this was a very easy thing to do. He shot. He really shot. Jing Xiaolu widened her eyes in horror. Yang Ming, why did you shoot? Did you really shoot him? Well, I didn't expect your endurance to be so strong. You don't feel much fear when you see this person die in front of you. Yang Ming was a little surprised by Jing Xiaolu's reaction. He thought she would scream. Why would I be afraid if this kind of scum died? I couldn't be happier. Jing Xiaolu frowned and said, but what are you going to do? You shot and killed someone. The police will come to arrest you in a while, right? What's wrong with you? Why are you so impulsive? I'm so angry. Jing Xiaolu was really anxious. She grabbed Yang Ming's clothes and shook it. Why are you so worrisome? What am I going to do if you get caught? What about Sister Meng Yan and the others? Say something. He was going to shoot me first, so I naturally killed him. Yang Ming shrugged and said indifferently. Aya, you are not a police officer. You can't kill him even if he shot you. Jing Xiaolu said angrily, how about this? You give me the gun, and I will wipe off your fingerprints. Then, you will say that I shot him. After Jing Xiaolu finished speaking, she was going to grab the gun in Yang Ming's hand. What are you doing? Xiaolu. Yang Ming was shocked. He didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to be so strong. She actually had the idea of going to jail for him. This made Yang Ming's heart tremble, and a burst of emotion surged into his heart. What do you mean, what am I doing? Give it to me quickly. It will be too late if you are late. You still have so many things to do. I am alone. It's nothing. Take care of my grandmother for me. If I am not sentenced to death, you can come and see me often. Jing Xiaolu became more emotional as she spoke. She even shed tears. In fact, she was reluctant to be separated from Yang Ming, but a belief that she didn't want anything to happen to Yang Ming supported her. Okay, Xiaolu, I know your thoughts. Thank you. Yang Ming took a deep breath. This Yu Xiangda didn't die in vain. At least, I understand your feelings for me. Yang Ming originally thought that Jing Xiaolu's love for him was not so steady. After he went to Yunnan, Jing Xiaolu would gradually forget him, but he didn't expect Jing Xiaolu to be like this. Today's incident also showed Jing Xiaolu's firm thoughts. Yang Ming, are you kidding me? Jing Xiaolu was so angry that she laughed. At this time, you are still joking? Xiaolu, don't be afraid. It's okay. Yang Ming squeezed Jing Xiaolu's little hand and comforted her. How can it be okay? Jing Xiaolu was a little puzzled. So many people saw it. Although the place where you killed him is relatively unlucky, you came out with this guy's underling from the steamed bun shop before. So many people saw it. When they investigate, they will definitely suspect you. That's right. They all saw it. It was Yu Xiangda who came to trouble me. Then it's easier to handle. Yang Ming smiled. Speaking of this, Yang Ming suddenly thought of Zhang Kaiyuan in the Nissan van. He naturally understood that Yu Xiangda's appearance here was definitely related to Zhang Kaiyuan. This kid is quite sinister. If I don't know Kung Fu, then wouldn't I die here today? Jing Xiaolu was also taken away by him. Yang Ming could imagine what would happen at that time. Thinking of this, Yang Ming's anger surged into his heart. He looked into the Nissan van, but he saw Zhang Kaiyuan excitedly making a phone call. Hello, is this the Jiduan City Police Department? I want to report a murder case in the alley next to Father Wang's Sheet and Style Lamb steamed bun shop near the Immortal Resort. Come quickly. This kid actually called the police? Yang Ming was a little surprised. Wasn't this Yu Xiangda found by him? While he was thinking, he saw Zhang Kaiyuan talking to himself. Brother Da, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to be involved when I asked you for help. But it's okay. You died for a reason. It just so happens that the police arrested Yang Ming. Jing Xiaolu is mine. Huh, Brother Da, I will burn more joss paper for you. Don't blame me. When Yang Ming saw what Zhang Kaiyuan said, he was angry and amused. He felt that it was not worth it for Yu Xiangda. This Yu Xiangda died a little too miserably. He died for no reason. It seemed that he died in Yang Ming's hands, but in fact, it was Zhang Kaiyuan who took his life. However, Yang Ming was very annoyed by Zhang Kaiyuan's sinister actions. This kid actually wanted to frame him at this time and then take over Jing Xiaolu. How could Yang Ming let him live? He casually raised his hand and suddenly fired a shot. How could the thin door of this broken van block a bullet? Yang Ming shot Zhang Kaiyuan's crotch. Zhang Kaiyuan immediately screamed and fainted from the pain. Yang Ming's shot was very accurate. It directly destroyed Zhang Kaiyuan's penis. Yang Ming would definitely not show mercy to such a person. Yang Ming, why did you shoot again? Is there someone else in this van? Jing Xiaolu also heard the gunshot and Zhang Kaiyuan's screams. She looked at the van in horror. Zhang Kaiyuan is inside. He was the one who found you, Xiangda. Yang Ming said faintly, this kid is not a good person. When he saw that I killed you, Xiangda, he wanted to call the police to arrest me and take you. So, I killed him directly. At this time, Jing Xiaolu did not have time to think about how Yang Ming knew about this matter. At this time, she subconsciously believed Yang Ming's words. She was most worried about how Yang Ming would deal with the aftermath. However, just as Jing Xiaolu was worried, Yang Ming leisurely picked up the phone and dialed Xia Bingbao's number. Brother Xia, I am Yang Ming, said Yang Ming. Yang Ming, what's the matter? Xia Bingbao knew that Yang Ming would never take the initiative to call him when there was nothing going on. Therefore, he was used to Yang Ming's phone calls. He knew that Yang Ming would not call for no reason. I am now at the Immortal Resort. A former enemy shot me, said Yang Ming. What? Are you okay now? Xia Bingbao quickly asked before Yang Ming finished speaking. The current Yang Ming was a national treasure. He could not afford to have any accidents. The trip to Yunnan was just around the corner, but such a thing happened. Are you injured? No, I killed him. One of his accomplices tipped him off, so I injured him. Yang Ming said, I guess I was a little frightened. About the mission. Chapter 1661. Okay, stop. I think you're doing well now. Xia Bingbao was shocked when he heard Yang Ming talking about the mission. He was afraid that Yang Ming would not go. In fact, Xia Bingbao also knew that this mission was a narrow escape. Xia Shui going was decided by the old man at home. He couldn't change it. The old man's thoughts were different from his own. He thought that Xia Shui should go and experience it. Otherwise, she would be too inexperienced to be a criminal police captain at such a young age. However, Xia Shui was considered a person in the system. It was natural for her to go. However, for Yang Ming, it was not very fair. Yang Ming could not be regarded as a full-time employee. He was a college student with a good life. Wasn't it a bit cruel to let him perform this kind of mission? However, Xia Bingbao had no choice. After all, this was a major event to eliminate evil for the people. Once Elder Yu practiced some evil techniques, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although this had a bit of a sci-fi feeling of Resident Evil's human mutation, it was actually happening in front of him. Xia Bingbao had also personally experienced the matter of Elder Yu sucking human blood to practice. It's just a joke. Yang Ming said faintly, I promised you. I will naturally go. Ugh. Yang Ming's calm tone made Xia Bingbao's eyelids wet in an instant. However, Xia Bingbao still resisted his emotional changes and said, You brat, you got into trouble again. Let me clean up your butt. Tell me your specific location. I will send someone to deal with it. Hee hee. Yang Ming naturally noticed Xia Bingbao's emotional changes, but he didn't say much. Jiduan City, in a small alley next to Old Man Wang's Xi'an-style lamb and steamed bun shop near the Immortal Resort. I will let our people in Jiduan City go over. Xia Bingbao listened and hung up the phone. Yang Ming, who are you calling? What mission is there? What are you talking about? Jing Xiaolu waited for Yang Ming to hang up the phone. Then she asked with some doubts, Can this person help you? You will know when you see it. Yang Ming smiled. Then we'll just wait here? Wait for the police to come and arrest us? Jing Xiaolu felt that her and Yang Ming's behavior was a bit silly. Wait here to be arrested after killing someone? Not running away? It's not certain yet. Yang Ming glanced at the Nissan van and said without any worry. How could Xia Bingbao let Zhang Kaiyuan and Yu Xiangda off when they attacked him? I have an important mission now. These two people still want to kill me. After Zhang Kaiyuan is killed by Xia Bingbao, his end will not be good. Ah. Jing Xiaolu looked at Yang Ming in astonishment. Could it be that the police will arrest them instead of you? They are the victims. You're wrong. I'm the victim. Yang Ming shrugged and said, he was the one who wanted to kill me. This. Jing Xiaolu said in her heart, it's true that they wanted to kill you, but you can't kill them in turn. While the two were talking, there was a harsh siren in the distance. A standard police car and a black Audi A6 with a civilian license plate stopped in front of Yang Ming. Yang Ming glanced at the row of passes under the A6 windshield and knew that this car belonged to him. It seemed that Xia Bingbao's reaction speed was really fast. He actually arrived at the same time as the police. Zhang Kaiyuan was the one who called the police first. However, Yang Ming also knew what kind of organization he was in. It was not surprising that the reaction speed was fast. A man in a black suit and sunglasses quickly jumped out of the Audi and walked quickly to Yang Ming. He looked at Yang Ming against the mobile phone screen while walking. Yang Ming could see his photo on the mobile phone screen in the man's hand with his special ability. It seemed that Xia Bingbao sent it to him. After checking, the man in the black suit confirmed that there was no mistake and said enthusiastically, Mr. Yang? I was sent by Captain Xia. My name is Li Ji. Can I see your ID? Yang Ming sighed in his heart about Li Ji's cautiousness. After checking the photo, he still had to check his ID. However, there was nothing wrong with being careful. Yang Ming also understood and readily handed his special ID to Li Ji. Li Ji quickly flipped through it and returned it to Yang Ming. He could see the authenticity of the ID as soon as he held it in his hand. Thank you, Mr. Yang. I'm sorry. I'm also following the rules. It's nothing. Yang Ming waved his hand. Sorry to trouble you to come over so late. It's my duty. Captain Xia told me that Mr. Yang is a key protection target. There can't be any accidents. These little punks don't have eyes. They actually wanted to shoot. I think they don't want to live anymore, said Li Ji. Brotherly, of the 5 men lying on the ground, 1 was shot in the head and is dead. The other 4 are just unconscious. The people in the car are seriously injured and unconscious. What do you think should be done now? The Jiduan City Police received a call from Xia Bingbao. This case was taken over by his people. They only came over to assist Li Ji with the case. Send the injured to the hospital first. Check the identity of the dead. Li Ji said, lock up the unconscious first. Wait for me to interrogate with Mr. Yang. Yes, brotherly, several police officers began to deal with the scene according to Li Ji's instructions. Jing Xiaolu was dumbfounded by the sight. Who the hell is this Li Ji? After he came, he settled the case in a few words. The police seemed to be assisting him. The strangest thing was that he actually asked Yang Ming to show some kind of ID. After Yang Ming showed his ID, the two people seemed to have become close comrades on the front line. Moreover, Li Ji actually said that he would interrogate the unconscious people with Yang Ming. Does Yang Ming have this power? Mr. Yang, where are you going now? Do you think we should interrogate these people now, or do you want me to send you back to rest? Asked Li Ji. I won't be going to the interrogation. You can just ask. The reason is actually very simple. I accompanied my girlfriend to attend a class reunion. There was a man who had a crush on my girlfriend in the past. He was the guy who was shot in the lower body by me. He found a few people in the underworld to teach me a lesson. Then, he caught my girlfriend and gave her to the man. As a result, the gangster that the man found had a grudge with me. I kicked him in the detention center, so he wanted to kill me with a gun. As a result, the gun was snatched by me and I killed him. Yang Ming briefly explained what happened. It turned out to be like this. Although Li Ji was curious about what Yang Ming was doing in the detention center, he didn't ask much. Anything was possible in their line of work. Maybe Yang Ming was going undercover. I'll have to trouble you to help me deal with the follow-up matters. I won't be going. I'm going back to the Immortal Resort now. Yang Ming said. Then I'll send you back, said Li Ji quickly. You don't have to send me back. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, I can go back by myself. I have a car here. Mr. Yang, Captain Xia gave me a death order to protect your safety. I must escort you safely to the hotel, said Li Ji firmly. This isn't necessary, right? Yang Ming suddenly smiled bitterly. It's such a short road. I can walk by myself. This is a mission. Li Ji said firmly again, Captain Xia ordered me to do so. Ugh. Yang Ming was really helpless. He had to say, how about this? Let me call Brother Xia. That works too. Li Ji nodded. Mr. Yang, I received the order to protect your safety. If Captain Xia doesn't agree, I really can't go. Please forgive me. It's okay. I understand. Yang Ming nodded understandingly. Li Ji naturally had to listen to Xia Bingbao. Only Yang Ming didn't have to abide by the strict iron discipline. He was more casual. None of the official staff members didn't follow orders. As Yang Ming spoke, he took out the phone and dialed Xia Bingbao's phone number. Xia Bingbao quickly connected. Yang Ming, how is it? Has Li Ji rushed over? He's here. It has been solved, but he said that you asked him to protect my safety? Yang Ming asked with a bitter smile. Yeah, you brat, you are either assassinated or shot every day. I'm scared. Don't die before we go to Yunnan. I have already reported this to the higher-ups. How am I going to report this to them if you die? Xia Bingbao said with some annoyance, you're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.